Stand up! New York Giants fans. Still have my voice after doing the Knicks game last night. Nearly lost it. We'll save it up for Wednesday. But wanted to come on. I haven't talked Giants with you guys in a couple days. Haven't made a video in the last 2 or 3 days. Was actually at Foxwoods Casino. Was looking to make some bets on the Giants, but they don't allow sports gambling there. Was going to make some content with that. But, yeah, it hasn't been a lot to talk about. And I'm kind of getting sick of the hypothetical videos and, this, that, the other thing. Let's wait till training camp, and that's when I'll start to break down the roster and everything else. But I kind of wanted to go over the roster with the New York Giants, talk about some of the battles going into camp, some of the things that I'm looking at as a Giants fan going into really what is now the start of the offseason for the New York Giants after the draft. OTAs start officially today. It's voluntary. So, a lot of the players probably won't show up. But in about a month, things are going to really start to pick up for the New York Giants. Kind of wanted to come on, talk some roster with you guys, being that I had some free time today. In addition to that, talk about Julio Jones. Hysterical video came out. If you guys have not seen it yet today on Julio Jones. Jones, I don't think he knew he was on live television, was asked on ESPN by, I think it was Sharp, if he would accept, if he would want to go to the Dallas Cowboys, in which he kind of laughed it off and said there's no way in hell he would ever go to the Dallas Cowboys. In that video, he also said, or in that phone conversation, I should say, he also said that, and my dog's about to bark. We're going to have to let her up in a second. She was well-behaved until I started the stream. But in that video, he also said that he expects to be traded by the Atlanta Falcons. So it sounds like he's going to be traded. I know naturally a lot of Giants fans are going to want to talk about that, whether or not the New York Giants are going to look to trade for Julio Jones. I ain't even going to bother to make a video on it. In my opinion, it would make negative 100% sense for the New York Giants to go out there and trade for Julio Jones. No sense whatsoever. Why would you do that? New York Giants just spent a ton of money on Kenny Golladay. They just traded for Kadarius Toney. Signed Kadarius Toney. They got more. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Daniel Jones can't get it done with the second overall pick with a running back, he can't get it done with a wide receiver, one of the top 15 wide receivers in the league. He can't get it done with a first-round wide receiver, Kadarius Toney. He can't get it done with Kyle Rudolph. He ain't getting it done. And I ain't giving up draft capital to then go and bring in a 32-year-old wide receiver in Julio Jones. Nah, that's not what smart teams do. Not happening. If the Giants are going to add to anything on this roster, should be the offensive line. Period. End of story. At this point in time, that would make no sense whatsoever for the New York Giants to try to go out there and get Julio Jones. But I thought it was hysterical, his response about the Dallas Cowboys. I was laughing my ass off. If you ask me what teams I think that Julio Jones is going to ultimately end up on, it's a good question. Maybe Baltimore, maybe the Ravens. They could still probably use another wide receiver. They're kind of in win now mode. He wants to go to a winner. I could see that. I could see the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I'd have to think about it. I'm sure some of you guys will have some suggestions as well. Maybe the Colts. I'd have to think about that, but it will not be the New York Giants. I promise you that. And apparently it will not be the Dallas Cowboys. Also want to touch on a little bit of the Knicks game, kind of give my thoughts the day after. I know not all you guys are Knicks fans, but I want to talk about it because I'm a Knicks fan, and it's a big game. It's the playoffs, and kind of want to just go over my thoughts of that game yesterday and, field any of your guys' questions as we get ready for game 2 on Wednesday. We got a 3-day wait now, which sucks. But I kind of miss this feeling at the same time where, you're pissed off. As a Knicks fan, I haven't really been pissed off about anything of reason in a long time because we haven't been in the playoffs. So I kind of miss that feeling. But glad that everybody's here. Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. John Letourneau in the house, Ali in the house, G Nation in the house, BX Universe in the house, Drac in the house, Afghanistan, Word, Alec, Matt, Tom, Cades, Verts in the house, Gravity in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Eagles sign everybody. Eagles ain't getting him. There is no way in hell the Philadelphia Eagles are getting Julio Jones. You can bank on it. No chance. John, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. What's going on there, Trini? Says, stand up, the entertainer. The Giants stink. It must be frustrating that the Marlins are always a pest, but your Mets are still in first place. How did you let Trae Young shut MSG up? Oh, God. Hey, it is what it is, man. I said it on Twitter yesterday. There's a lot of player fans nowadays, and I think that is the biggest reason, the biggest problem I have with the NBA nowadays. There's too many player fans, and the second that you come out and you say you hate a player, they come to his defense. I mean, it used to be we all hated Reggie Miller, and nobody questioned it. Obvious reasons. Yeah, I hate Trae Young. Trae Young did his job. He shut the crowd up. He hit the big basket. We got 6 more games to shut him up, and we'll see how the New York Knicks respond. That's what a series is about. They won round 1. We got 6 more rounds. What's going on there, Nichols, man? Thanks for popping in. Colts or Cards? Oh, you're talking about for Jones? I don't know. Well, the Colts have cap space. I'm not sure what the Cardinals' cap situation is. The Colts have cap space. I personally don't think the Cardinals necessarily need another wide receiver. But maybe that is what they like to do. I think the Colts could make sense. What's up there, Nations, man? Thanks for popping in. What's going on there, TRX? And True Applet says, let's slander the Jets because why not? JV team in New York. You know what, man? I'm fair to the Jets. I at least try to be fair to the Jets. I really do. I'm not going to slander the Jets. I mean, yeah, the Jets have struggled, throughout the course of history. Haven't won a Super Bowl since 1969. Yeah, they're definitely the second team in New York. But I got to be fair, man. I think the Jets have had a great offseason. That doesn't mean it's all going to work. That doesn't mean that Zach Wilson's going to prove to be the quarterback that I think he could be. But I think the Jets are finally building that team right. I think we're building the team right as well. But I like what the Jets did. They're building up that offensive line. They got Zach Wilson. They got him some weapons. We'll see. I still think they're a year away from being relevant, especially with a rookie quarterback, new head coach. But I like the Salah hire as well. And we'll see. I mean, I think the Jets could be a good team in a couple of years. Yuri, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, any way too early NFL award predictions? Barkley wins comeback player of the year, Judge coach of the year, defensive rookie of the year. I think Barkley, I mean, there are so many players that can win comeback player of the year. Barkley's one of them. There's a number of quarterbacks that could win it. Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott. So there's a number of guys that could win that award. Obviously, as a Giants fan, I hope it's Barkley. I worry a little bit about Barkley's injury, how he's going to respond early in the season. I think he'll be fine 4 or 5 games in, but I think they may ease him back in. So I don't know if he'll win that award, but he's definitely one of the 3 or 4 front runners. There's no doubt about it. If he's healthy, we all know what he could do. Judge coach of the year, I think he could. I mean, the Giants would have to win probably 11 games for him to win that award, maybe 12. I mean, going in, I think most people think 7, 8 wins for the Giants. So we would need to win 11 or 12 probably for him to win that award. Defensive rookie of the year, I mean, it's way too early to guess these things, but I'll tell you what, Azeez Ojulari to me has a shot. I really do believe that because I don't think there's any great defensive prospects in this year's draft outside of Micah Parsons, and Parsons is probably the front runner. Yeah, you could point to the cornerbacks like J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, but at the end of the day, cornerbacks take a lot of time to develop. It's very rare that you see a cornerback win defensive rookie of the year. Ojulari is going to get plenty of playing time. He's going to get plenty of snaps. So I think he should be one of the 4 or 5 favorites to win the award. But I would have to say Micah Parsons is probably the favorite going in. But we'll see. Let's see. And Bobby, man, what's going on, man? Thank you very much. He says, blank the Jets. This coming from a Patriots fan, of course. Bobby, glad to see you, my man. And I'll tell you what, man, the AFC is going to be a fun division this year. I really believe that. I think between you guys obviously improved with all that you spent. I think the Jets have a little interesting thing going on over there. Miami, of course, and Buffalo. So I think that's going to be a really good division this year. John, man, thank you very much. What quarterback has a realistic chance of being the Josh Allen of this year? Jones, Wentz, Hurts, or Dak? I think there's 3 quarterbacks. I've said this in a couple of other streams. My 3 quarterbacks that I think are going to break out this year. And when I say breakout, I always need to say this and preface it by saying this because a lot of times when people hear breakout, they're like, oh, Chris is saying they're going to be a top 5 quarterback this year. No, that's not what I'm saying. When I say breakout, I mean they take a significant leap, meaning if you feel Daniel Jones is 27 and he goes to 15, for example, that's a breakout year for me. And the 3 quarterbacks that I think are going to break out and are going to have a dramatic improvement because I don't just look at the quarterbacks themselves. I look at the situations that they inherit, the players around them that came around them. I think Daniel Jones is among the top 3 in terms of the most improvement at the quarterback position. I really believe that. I'm not saying he's Josh Allen. I'm not expecting Josh Allen. Carson Wentz, Matt Stafford, and Daniel Jones. I think those 3 quarterbacks are much improved off of last year's results. Those are my 3 quarterbacks this year. Last year, I hit the top 2. I said Josh Allen. I said Baker Mayfield. I was wrong on number 3. But I think those 3 quarterbacks improved the most this year. And thank you, John, man. I appreciate it, buddy. But we'll see. And G Nation, man, thank you very much. What if Green Bay grabs Julio to keep Rodgers happy? I don't think they have the cap space. I mean, I know they can orchestrate a trade to make a move, but I don't think Rodgers is in the long-term plans. I really don't. I think Rodgers will play there this year, and I think he'll inevitably be traded. I think he will start the year with Green Bay. I think he'll play out this year, and then I think at the end of the season, he'll be traded by the Packers. That's what I think will happen. I mean, it's possible. They could use a wide receiver, but Green Bay is notorious for not going out of their way, whether it be to draft or whether it be to trade for wide receivers. I really don't see it happening. It's possible, but I wouldn't say it's likely. I would think Atlanta's probably going to look to trade him outside of the conference. That's why I brought up the Colts. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't say that they're the favorites. What's going on there? Isaiah Manning's popping in the stream, man. He says, who was 3? Daniel Jones was 3. No, it might have been, it was either Murray or Jones. I can't remember. Jones was my top 5 last year. I'm much higher on him this year, though, in terms of how much I think he'll grow. And I think I said in the video that I thought he'd start off slow and come on strong at the end of the year. I can't remember, but the top 2 I definitely hit on. I said Josh Allen was going to be the Lamar Jackson of last year, and I said Mayfield was going to be number 2. And the reason I felt as strongly about Mayfield last year as I did going into this year, last year rather, is the same reason I feel strongly about Jones. I thought that Mayfield got the parts around him to be able to take that major step up. Now the question you have with Jones is the offensive line, and we'll have to wait and see. And Isaiah, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping, anybody. He says, White Dog, we need Wednesday so bad. I know, man. Dude, I was looking at it, Isaiah. 76% of the time a team wins game 1. The team that loses does not win the series. So we're already at 24%. You factor that it was a home game. If you lose the first 2, and this isn't just factoring in home and away, 94% of the time you lose the series. So, yes, game 2 is absolutely a must-win for the New York Knicks, and they have to get a split in Atlanta. They can do both those things. They're right back where they need to be. We got to win 2 out of the next 3. Full stadium capacity. Full stadium capacity this season. I meant to mention that at the top of the stream. Super excited about that. We're going to be tailgating, and you have to figure that training camp is going to be open to the public, because I think that's like May 28th, they said. So I'll be at training camp. I'm looking forward to that. I meant to go last year, but obviously the pandemic hit. I'll definitely have some content up there with that. Really looking forward to that. You have to figure that training camp will be open to the public. And yeah, we're going to have 80,000 New York Giant fans at the stadium this year. So super excited about that as things are starting to get back to normal. What's going on there, Talk Circle Man? Next, pop it in. Tana, read. I'm just going to read the comments as they come in. I'm not going to scroll through the chat. We want Julio. Not happening. It's a waste of time to talk about. How are we getting Julio? I mean, please explain it to me. Why would we trade for Julio? Please explain it to me. Maybe we could get to the point where we have 9 wide receivers and they all play on the offensive line. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll invest our whole salary cap on the wide receivers, and they could block and they could throw the ball to themselves. Maybe that's what we'll do. I think that's what we should do. What's going on there, 40 Luck Man? Thanks for popping in, buddy. What's going on there, Zany? I could see they're being aggressive. I could see it, man. I could see it. What's going on there, Alvin, man? Thanks for popping in. No Julio down by the school. We're not getting Julio. Trade Ingram for Julio and a draft pick. Why would they want Ingram? They just got a tight end. They just got Kyle Pitts. Why would Atlanta want Evan Ingram? They just got Kyle Pitts. No chance. I'm from Jersey. Hope to see you at a Giants game this year. Can't wait to see her, man. Definitely going to go to a few Giants games. No doubt about it. Entertainer, how do you feel about the Giants' prediction record of it's 17 games this year. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Maybe you meant 9-8 or 10-7. I have them at 10-7. I have them at either 9 or 10 wins. So that's my record prediction right now. But I could see like my basement is like 7 or 8 wins. Like probably 7 wins is like my floor if there's not insane injuries. And I would say my ceiling is like maybe 11 or 12 if everything breaks right. But I'm kind of in the middle. I've got 9 or 10 wins. That's my thoughts with the Giants going into the year. Don't rule out Jones for the Titans. Well, yeah, they did lose a wide receiver. I could see that. They lost a wide receiver. Again, I don't know their cap situation, but they're a win now team. I could see that. Out of conference. Makes sense. Floor is 8-9, ceiling is 11-6. Yeah, I'm like 7-12, but yeah, between 8 and 11 is probably most realistic. Unless, obviously, if Daniel Jones gets hurt, hopefully that doesn't happen. Things change, but going into the year, realistically speaking, if we stay somewhat healthy, yeah, I think a minimum of 7 or 8 wins, minimum. If we go 7-10, we will be drafting. I think you meant to say a new quarterback. Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how Jones plays. If Jones plays great and we win 7 games, it's hard to say. What if the defense significantly regresses this year, which I don't think is going to happen. I think the defense is being slept on. I really do. I made a video on it a couple of weeks ago. I think the Giants are going to have a top 5 defense in football this year. I really believe it. And, I'm going to give you guys a hot take this year with this defense. My bold prediction about this defense this year, I think the Giants this year, and when you think about it, I don't think it's that crazy. I think the Giants defense this year will either lead or be top 2 or 3 in turnovers created in the NFL. Last year, they were 10th. Last year, we only blitzed the 21st most times in terms of percentage in the league. Okay, now we add Adoree Jackson. Okay, so we're going to be a much more aggressive defense, which should lend itself to more turnovers created. Also, look at the quarterbacks we're going up against. Ryan Fitzpatrick, twice, missed a turnover. Jameis Winston, missed a turnover. We're going up against a number of quarterbacks that are definitely not allergic to turning the football over. I think we're going to be a more aggressive defense this year. I think we're going to create more turnovers. I think it's going to help out the offense, and I think we're going to score more points because of it. I think we're going to be in the top 2 or 3 teams this year in turnovers created. I really believe that. Nick, man, thank you very much. Still recovering from last night? Yeah. Oh, MSG was right. I listened to the, obviously I can't hear it when I'm calling the game, but I listened to the crowd after the fact. The Garden, they were acting like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. It was great. And we weren't even at full capacity, only 18,000 people. Yeah, Drew Lock also, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Jalen Hurts twice a year. So I think the Giants are going to create a ton of turnovers this year. I think we created 22 last year, which was 10th. When you factor in that we're going to be more aggressive, the quarterbacks we're going up against, last year we had a 17 turnover jump. We were minus 17 the year before in terms of the plus minus with the turnovers. We finished the year dead even at 22 and 22. And obviously we got much better as the season wore along because Daniel Jones wasn't turning the ball over as much. This year, I think we're going to be like plus 8 or plus 10. And I think that's how we're going to win football games. I think we're not going to turn it over that much, and we're going to create more turnovers than we did. I think we're going to be plus 8 or plus 10 with the aggressive defense that we have. I really believe that. Yeah, they were Knicks talk, man. It was great. It was great. Yeah, Sam Darnold as well. Another guy that's not allergic to turning the football over. Brett says, based on how long they've stayed on the market, I'd love to get Trey Turner or the other O-lineman available, even if it's just for depth and veteran experience. Also, what do you think about the Heat tonight? I think the Heat will get a split. I think they're going to win tonight. They're too experienced. I think that'll be a long series. I think the Heat will end up losing the series, but I think they'll win tonight. I think they'll lose at 7. I think that'll be a long series. But as far as the offensive line and what I'm hoping, because you guys know I'm a big offensive line guy, and you guys know that I think we should sign another offensive lineman. If nothing else, for depth purposes, for a guy that could come in and compete to start for this football team this year, or at least provide his depth. Okay? You know that. You know I'm a big old line guy. But what I'm hoping as a fan is that the New York Giants are being patient, like they were with Logan Ryan, and they're waiting for this market to sort itself out, and they're looking to get one of these guys on a bargain bin deal, because there's a lot of linemen that are still out there that the New York Giants could bring in and could provide his depth. And, I get it, right? I get it that the New York Giants want to believe in this young core. They want them to grow together. But if what Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge says is true, that you can never have enough talent at a position, and we've seen that transpire at the tight end spot, the wide receiver spot, the running back spot, why would you not look to bring in another offensive lineman if the deal was right? So what I'm thinking is, because there's still a lot of pretty good offensive linemen out there on the market, I think the Giants are waiting for the market to set itself, and I think in the end they'll sign one for a pretty cost-effective rate, or at least that's what I'm hoping. I don't know who it'll be. I don't know if it'll be Ryder. I don't know if it'll be Turner. That I don't know. But I do think in the end we're going to sign another lineman. I really believe that. What's up there, Landon? Thanks for popping in. Trixie says, Yo, Entertainer, how do you think we can win a playoff game if we make the playoffs? By scoring more points. Trixie. If we score more points, I think we win. That's how we'd win. I think. You're excited for the undrafted. Yeah, you're talking about the center that we picked up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a ton about him. I looked into him a little bit. We'll see how he does at camp. I don't think he's going to start for this team. I think he'll provide his depth. But we'll see, man. What's up there, Evan, man? Thanks for popping in. What's going on there, Landon? Ojulari is going to start fast till they get tape on him. I'm going to be interested to see. And when I look at this roster right now, I think there's a lot of training camp battles. And I'm going to be interested to see how they divvy up the playing time between all the edge rushers and everything else. But when I look at this roster right now, these right now, to me, are the battles that I see going into camp. I think you got 3 players competing to start at the guard spot. That's Fulton, Lemieux, Hernandez. I think 2 of those guys are going to be in your starting lineup unless we go out there and sign somebody, which we still could. Robinson and Holmes are competing in the slot. I would probably give Holmes the slight favorite, but Robinson's definitely got a lot of talent. Obviously, the Giants feel very strongly about him. They traded up in the 3rd round to get him. And when you watch him, the guy's super impressive. But I'd probably label Holmes the slight favorite. And then I think you got an interesting battle in the wide receiver department in terms of who's going to get the most playing time. Tony, Slayton, Shepard, how are they going to utilize those wide receivers? Of course, Galladay's the number 1. Clement and Brightwell is the RB3. Not to mention we brought in the guy from the Jaguars as well. Then you got Zimenez, Carter, Ojulari, Smith on the edge. They're going to be competing for reps. Not to mention Ifedi Adenabo, who I think could play some OLB, is also going to be playing on the line. Then at the tight end spot, you got Toyolo, Caden Smith, Benjamin. I think competing for the back end. Maybe if they go with 4 tight ends, 2 of those guys make the team. And Ayrton Solder at the right tackle. I think those are kind of the biggest battles. And I didn't even mention the middle linebacker position, which is an interesting battle as well. How the New York Giants are going to plan to do that. And Pete, man, thank you very much. I find it near impossible that our O-line needs help, and Judge either can't see it or sees it but refuses to do anything about it. I trust his judgment. Listen, man, we'll see what ends up happening. I still think, and I could absolutely be wrong. Just like anybody else, if you don't truly share an opinion, you're bound to be wrong sometimes. I still think the Giants are going to sign a lineman. And I think they're waiting for the market to sort itself out. But listen, Pete, at the end of the day, we're not the coach. We're not the GM. And all you can do as a fan is hope that they make the right decision. And obviously last year, the New York Giants invested a lot in that position. And they believe in the players that they drafted and they brought in. And you have to hope that they progress and they get better. If you look at it from a glass half full perspective, they're young. They never played together before. You brought in a new coach. You got more weapons to help them make the offense less predictable. Maybe they could take a big step up this year, but they have to. Otherwise, this all goes up in smoke. Dependable line, man. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I think we make a bigger leap than most people expect. 9 wins. I saw a video where we projected 7-10. Listen, I'm not going to, everybody's got their own opinion. Listen, would I be shocked if we went 7-10? No, I'd be lying if I said I'm not picking that. I don't expect that. But would I be shocked? No. I mean, for one, we have a lot of players that are injury prone. The offensive line, we don't know. There's a lot of things that have to come together. But when I look at this team, I just think, and I say it all the time, we should just get better on both sides of the ball just from coming back and playing together with one another, being more familiar in the scheme. And I think this defense is going to be a lot better than people give them credit for. I've seen lists where this New York Giants is ranked outside the top 10, their defense. Like, I think this defense is going to be a lot better than people give it credit for. And I think with these bettors and these people prognosticating our record, saying we're going to win 6, 7, 8 games, I think they're just looking at Daniel Jones. Because when you look at the rest of this team, this is not a 7-1 team. And I think they're just looking at Daniel Jones. But the way I look at it is this, and I'm not comparing our defense to the Chicago Bears a couple of years ago, but I think our defense is going to be pretty damn good. That team won 11 games with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. I think our overall roster is too talented, and I don't think Jones is going to be as bad as some of people may think. But even if Jones is average or even slightly below average, I still think this is an 8 or 9 win roster if we stay relatively healthy. Justin, man, thank you very much. Just saw MetLife announce full capacity. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier, and I'm excited about it, man. I didn't get to go to any Giants games last year, just like everybody else, and I'm excited to go to a couple Giants games this year. Definitely going to go to the one against the Eagles, and I'll be going to training camp, so it'll be a lot of fun getting to meet some of you guys, talk some Giants football. So I'm looking forward to it as we're starting to get back to some sense of normalcy. What's up there, Andrew Christopher? Okay, what somebody just asked. Gucci says, what if our defense regresses from last year in our offense? If our defense regresses from last year, we're not going to be good. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to bank that this defense is only going to get better. If the offense is average and the defense regresses, we're at best an 8-win football team. We need the defense. But here's what I'm going to say, Gucci. I just don't see it. I just don't see how this defense is going to regress unless we have injuries. And maybe I'll be wrong. I could be wrong. And I know some of the people, they look at last year's schedule and they say, well, they didn't go up against the best of quarterbacks. Well, we're not going up against the best of quarterbacks this year. Jalen Hurts twice, Ryan Fitzpatrick twice, Sam Darnold. I mean, who scares you out of that bunch? Yeah, we go up against Mahomes once. We go up against Brady once. We went up against Brady once last year also. Who really scared? I mean, I don't know. I look at our defense. I think it should only be better. We're more mature. We're more acclimated to the scheme. We brought in Adoree Jackson. Xavier McKinney's going to play. I think the defense should only be better. Bringing in Azeez Ojulari. We didn't have Lorenzo Carter all of last year. I think the defense should only be better, man. Yeah, Winston. What's up there, Alfonso? Thanks for popping in. What's up, Chris? I know you don't think so. But what will a trade for Julio look like in your opinion? We're not trading for him. I don't know what the price would be. The thing is, he completely crushed his trade market because he went out there and basically said that the Falcons are going to trade me. So I don't know what Atlanta's going to be able to get for him now. But we're not. I'm telling you right now, we're not trading for him. It's. Don't even get your hopes up if you're a fan that's rooting for that. We're already debating as Giants fans, like, you know, oh, should Slayton be the 4 or should Shepard be the 4? Like, when is enough enough? Like I get that Daniel Jones didn't have weapons. He's got them now. When is enough enough? There's other parts of a football team. I'm not giving up draft capital to bring in a 32-year-old wide receiver with injury problems. You got Kenny Golladay. You got Kadarius Toney. You got enough weapons. You got Barkley back. When is enough enough? You got to fill out the other holes of this team. And I'm not giving up future draft capital to bring him in. John, what's up? Michael says, calling it now, Lorenzo Carter and Azeez Ojulari will establish themselves as the next OC and Tuck. That is high expectations. That is high expectations. And dependable line, man, thank you very much. I saw a video. He wants to go to Dallas or New England. He's not going to Dallas. I guess you missed it. He was on national TV today, and I don't think he knew he was live. Shannon Sharp called him, and he asked him if he'd go to the Dallas Cowboys. He said absolutely not, and his plan is to win this year, and he laughed about going to the Dallas Cowboys. Not to mention, if you're Julio Jones, why in the world would you want to go to Dallas? And I'm not even going to be a jerk here. I'm not trying to pick on Dak. I troll a little bit on Twitter. Dak's a good quarterback. They've got 3 great receivers already. If you're Julio Jones, why wouldn't you want to go to a place where you're going to get more targets? You're not going to win a Super Bowl there. They have no defense. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah, he said he didn't want to go to Dallas on TV. Exactly. Pete, what's going on, man? Shannon told him he was on the air after the... Yeah, I know. That was kind of messed up. Timothy always comes with the great predictions. He says, will the Falcons... Usually you say... You don't ask. You usually say it's going to happen. Will the Falcons trade Julio Jones to the Ravens in exchange for a 2022 second-round pick and a 2023 conditional fifth-round pick before Week 1? Yes. I think those exact picks will be the trade. I think it'll be a conditional 5 and a second. That is what's going to happen. No, I have no idea. I have no idea. But if I had to guess, I think Julio Jones would probably command a second-round pick at this point. I think he'd be a second-round pick. I don't think he's going to be able to command a first with his salary. The fact that everybody knows that that they have no leverage. The Atlanta Falcons have no leverage. Cruz on, man. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says they're looking at the offensive line, the heartbeat of an offense. I know everyone is hoping the O-line gels, but that's a big if. No, I agree. I think it's Jones and the line, if I'm being honest, Cruz on. But I agree with you. I think the offensive line is a much bigger question mark than Daniel Jones. I really believe that, Cruz on. And I'm not saying that Daniel Jones, I'm not convinced that Daniel Jones could be an elite quarterback, which in the end is what you want. That's what you strive for. But what I am convinced, and maybe I'll be wrong, Cruz on, if the offensive line is average with the weapons we gave Jones, he can win football games. I really believe that. So I agree with you that I think the offensive line is the bigger question mark than Daniel Jones. And if they are predicting us to win 6 or 7 games, that should be the reasoning. And if that is the reasoning, that's fair. If you don't believe in this coaching staff's decision to go with what they got, if you don't believe in these young players to progress and grow as a unit, I understand that more. So I agree with you, but my honest opinion, I don't think that's the reason why they're picking us as low as they are. I think it has more to do with Daniel Jones and their lack of belief in him as a quarterback. Jones can be an above average starter. I agree. I really believe that. And I've never, and that's how you know I'm honest. I've never come on here. You've never once heard me say the term Danny Dimes. You've never once heard me say that I think he's going to be a great quarterback. Because in my heart, I don't believe that. When I say great, I mean top 5 in the league. I don't think he'll be that. He doesn't need to be. But I do think if the players around him perform to the capabilities that I think they're capable of doing and the offensive line is average, I think he'd be a good quarterback. And I think he can win football games. And to me, that translates to good. Don't turn the ball over. Win games down the stretch. Make plays. Get the ball in your playmakers' hands and let them do their thing. And I think he could do that. And I think he's capable of being a good quarterback. I really believe that. We need Morgan. We need to sign Morgan Moses. Yeah, I mean, I forgot who it was. I forgot who it was. I didn't make a video on it. Somebody made a video on it. I can't even remember who it was. And they said, don't sign Morgan Moses. And I didn't even watch it. And I said, what? Like, why? I'm not saying that we need to sign the guy. I don't think we'll sign him because he's going to cost a lot of money. But why would you not at least be like, yeah, he could help the team? Morgan Moses has played every down for like six years straight. The guy has played from within the division. He's a good tackle. He would definitely add credibility to this offensive line. I just don't think he's I think he's going to cost too much. But I think he's a solid player. I think he's a good player. He actually graded out high last year. And I would welcome him with open arms. I honestly, I don't even remember who made a video on it, but I saw the title. I'm like, I'm not even going to click that. I'm not even going to click that. But I don't think we're signing him. What do you think about Trey Turner? What do I think about Trey Turner? He's a guy that's kind of regressing. He's had some injury issues. A Gettleman guy, but if you could get him on the cheap, I'm all for it. But I would personally rather have Ryder or Reader, however it's pronounced, the guy from Kansas City, the center. He was actually a pretty good center last year for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's still relatively young. I would probably rather have him. But, yeah, I mean, if Turner was really cheap, I could see Gettleman being somewhat interested. We'll see. But we thought the same thing about Darrell Williams, and nothing ever came from it. So we'll see, man. Julio Jones asked about future with Atlanta, says, I'm out of here. Yeah, I saw the video today. I was dying of laughter. I was dying of laughter. It was my favorite thing I've seen in a long time. Can you see Ellerson Smith? Yeah, I know, full capacity, Reyes. Can you see Ellerson Smith making an impact this season? Yes. Now, what's your definition of impact? Because it might be different than mine. But do I think he'll get out on the field? Yes. Do I think he'll make a few sacks? Yes. But I don't see him getting I don't think he's going to get the playing time to make a significant impact. But yes, I think he'll be out in certain packages and he'll play. I definitely think he'll play. I still think when I watch him, and I know he put on weight, but to me, his frame just looks so slender. And that's what a lot of people said. So I looked for it when I watched his highlights and everything else. The guy is just so, I don't know. I feel like he's going to get pushed off the ball. But I think in certain packages, he could be a solid pass rusher for the New York Giants. But that's probably why he went in the 4th round. Danny, man, thank you very much. What quarterbacks in the NFL do you think will have better seasons than most people think? I said it earlier. I think Carson Wentz with the Colts. I think he's in a great situation. I think Stafford with the Rams. I think he's going to have a big bounce back here. I think McVay's a really good offensive mind, and they got good weapons over there to support him. And I think Daniel Jones. I really believe that. I really do. I think Daniel Jones is going to be good this year. Chris, you got that Garrett clap down there. Yeah, I definitely clap it up there. I can't help it. I'm a fan, man. I get into it. Will says, you think Randall's going to calm down and play like he should next game? Yes, I do. I think Randall, I think the whole team, it was clearly obvious yesterday, Will, came out nervous. I think that the first quarter, they shot like 20%. They came out completely nervous. They missed a number of shots. The Knicks also, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it seemed like they missed more free throws than they should have. I think the Knicks were nervous. Obviously, Julius Randle leading the way. The ironic thing is the rookies actually played well. But yeah, I think Randle will cool down. This is a team that he's owned all year. He averaged 37 points a game against them. I think he'll have a much better game too. I think Thibodeau will make adjustments, and I think Randle will come out of a strong game too. IQ and Burks need more shot attempts. Burks has been great for us all year. Burks has been great for us all year. So I knew and he's got playoff experience. So I was very confident with him. I was very pleasantly surprised with Quickly yesterday. He played very well. Let's see. I can imagine the face of Cowboys fans when there were rumors that Julio wanted to go there. I just don't get it. Like if I was a Cowboys fan, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and it's the same thing now as a Giants fan. I don't want Julio Jones. And I'd be the same way with the Cowboys. I would look at it, I'd be like, well, I got CeeDee Lamb. I've got Gallup, who may be replaced next year. And I've got Cooper. So I would say to myself, why am I going to give up draft capital out of strength? My defense sucks. I need to continue to build via the draft. And if I'm going to make a trade and give up draft capital, I'm going to get an impact player in the defense. And it's the same thing with the Giants. Like right now, if you ask me, what's our strongest unit on this football team? I can make an argument that it's the wide receiver position. It might be. I mean, I would probably say the secondary, but it's a close second, maybe third, but it's up there. It's definitely an above average unit. I think we have much stronger weaknesses. What money will Kadarius Toney get? He's going to get a rookie salary. I don't know it's not a lot because that's the other thing. By the Giants trading down, at least for this year's cap, it helped the money situation. Of course, next year we get an extra first-round pick, so whatever. We got to pay both those guys a good amount of money because they're going to be 2 first-round picks, but not a lot. Like last year, because we were picking the 11th slot, so I looked at Mekhi Becton's rookie salary the year before, and it was like, I think it was like $4 million or $3.5 million year one, and that was at 11. This is 22, so not a lot. Maybe $1.5 million. Not a lot. We're not going to be paying him much. Not his first year. Maybe $2 million. Trade Saquon to the Seahawks. Nobody's trading for Saquon. Not for the price that you want. Nobody's trading for Saquon. Guy's coming off an ACL tear. Nobody's trading for Saquon. I mean, if you want to give him up for nothing, for a third-round pick, okay. Could you see the Colts getting Julio? I think that's the best landing spot for him, especially with – yes, I could. That was one of the first teams I said because they got the cap space. So, yes, I absolutely could. I would say that's one of the favorites if I had to guess. Maybe a second-round pick. Maybe. I just don't see it happening, though. Dave Gettleman, you have to think about it realistically. Dave Gettleman drafted this guy, 2nd overall. Whether you want Barkley to be a part of the future of this team or not, I just don't see Dave Gettleman being like, okay, let's give him up and get a 2nd-round pick for Saquon Barkley. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think they're going to give him a chance this year and see what he's got and then come to a conclusion about what they're going to do at the end of the season. JD, man, thank you very much. What's going on, buddy? Says Tana, I think now Tibbs has to seriously consider a lineup change. Can the Knicks continue to play Peyton regardless of minutes? Can you continue to play a non-factor? No, they absolutely need to make a change. I said that in my stream yesterday. I'm not, and listen, I usually try to be as fair as I can with Elfrid Payton because I know the fan base despises the guy, rightfully so a lot of the times. But I think sometimes he gets more hate than he may deserve. Elfrid Payton needs to go to the bench. Elfrid Payton is useless. I think a lot of it at this point is mental. He knows the fans can't stand him. The guy is useless. He only played 7 or 8 minutes. He's useless. I would start Ntilikina. I would put Frank in the starting lineup. I'd only play him 8 or 10 minutes. I think Rose is better off the bench. He provides that spark. I still give him his 30 minutes, but I'm putting Frank in the starting lineup if I'm the coach right now. Connor, man, thank you very much. My hot take is the Giants do not pick in the first round next draft. Russell Wilson trade. That is a flaming hot take. I know Giants fans would be excited if that happened. That's a hot take. I don't see it. And there's been rumors about Russell Wilson out for 2 years. I don't see it. I think he's going to end up staying with Seattle. I could be wrong. The quarterback that I've said countless times that I think will be traded next year, and I'm not saying to the Giants, is going to be Aaron Rodgers. I think he stays with the Packers this year. I think he's traded in 2022. Much like they traded Favre after 3 years of Rodgers on the bench, I think they're going to trade Rodgers after Love having 3 years on the bench. It only makes sense. They have to start to find out what they have with their rookie quarterback. I think Rodgers will be a Packer this year, though. I really believe that, and I think he'll be traded after this year. What team will get him, I don't know. You know, you look around the league right now, the Eagles have 3 first-round draft picks. Giants have 2 first-round draft picks. Washington, of course, could be in need for a quarterback in our division. I don't know what team will get him. And obviously, if we're even going to have any interest whatsoever, it comes down to Daniel Jones. Is he going to progress as a quarterback this year? If he doesn't, that's when you start to at least think about that as being a possibility. But the Bears just drafted a quarterback. But I think he'll be traded. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be traded. I really don't. What's up there, Maxim? Hey, to Tater Target Sports, is the offensive line better than the defense or worse than the defense? Oh, the offensive line is the worst. Right now, if you ask me, Maxim, the offensive line is the worst unit on our team. It's not, to me, it's not even close. Like, I look at the wide receiver position, that's a strength now. I look at the running back position, that's a strength now. I look at our defensive line. I think that's a strength. I look at our linebacking core. Middle linebacker, I'd say it's slightly above average. Martinez is really good. If you want to be conservative, you say average between our 2 linebackers. Our edge, I'll say, is about average, slightly below, but I think they'll perform at least average with the secondary that we have with coverage sacks. And I think our secondary is obviously probably the biggest strength on this team. I think the offensive line is the clear weakness on this football team right now. And Cody, man, thank you very much. Washington defense is overrated 30-plus points 6 times. Yeah, I haven't looked, to be completely honest with you, Cody. I have not looked too much into the Washington defense. I think they have a good defense. I really do. I think they have a good front 7. I think their defense got better with the addition of William Jackson. I think they'll definitely have a top 10. Is it being slightly overrated? Perhaps. You know, a lot of people have them like 2 or 3 in the league. A lot of that's going to come down to the progression of Chase Young, but I definitely think they have a good defense. I think they have a very good defense. But they might be a little bit overrated. Here's the thing with Washington. Like, when I look at Washington on paper, obviously Fitzpatrick's their biggest question mark. I think they have a pretty good team. I really do. But they are also playing a first-place schedule. So we'll see how they respond with that. I definitely think they're beatable, though. Like, I don't look at them and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm shaking in my boots. I definitely think we could beat Washington. And like I said, like, I look at Fitzpatrick, and I get it. Fitzpatrick was, for what they paid him, for the situation they're in, they were picking 20th. They probably weren't going to be able to draft a quarterback. They probably didn't want to give up the resources it was going to take to go up and get a rookie quarterback. I think Washington had a great offseason. I've said that several times, but I think they failed in getting a quarterback of the future. Fitzpatrick is obviously not the long-term answer, and you're not winning a Super Bowl with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So to me, it's kind of delaying the inevitable. Eventually, you're going to have to get that franchise quarterback, whether it be via the draft, whatever it may be. So if you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Fitzpatrick, if you know it's like a 0% chance you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Ryan Fitzpatrick, you're just not. I don't like the move. I just don't like the move. To me, he's a Band-Aid fix until you draft your franchise quarterback. And not to mention, I view Ryan Fitzpatrick as the exact, and I'm not, maybe he can evolve and become what they need. But I look at Washington's team right now, and I say, all right, really strong defense. They got some good weapons on the offense. They need a game manager. They need what Alex Smith was 3 years ago before the injury. That's what they need. A guy that's not going to make mistakes. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the exact opposite of that. Like if you looked up in the dictionary the exact opposite of a game manager, a gunslinger, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I don't like the fit in terms of the type of quarterback, the style of quarterback that he is. I think in terms of the dollars and cents as a stopgap, it's fine, but I don't like the fit. And I think Washington, in a way, kind of failed. I think they should have tried to get their future quarterback this offseason. I really believe that, whether it be to trade up or whether it be to maybe trade for a younger quarterback that could be a guy that could actually, like Matt Stafford, for example. I think he's a guy that actually could give you hope, could win you a Super Bowl, with the pieces that you have on that team around you. I don't like the Fitzpatrick fit for Washington, because the way I look at it, if I'm a Washington fan, yeah, we can make the playoffs this year. We have a good defense. If all goes right, we can win 10, 11 games, but we ain't going anywhere. And then the next year, we're going to have to draft a quarterback. So, or we're going to kind of be in quarterback hell, and we're either going to have to give up a ton of draft capital to get a veteran, and inevitably, we're going to have to eventually draft a quarterback. So that's just my take on it. Cruz, man, thank you very much. I have to be honest, I don't like the Toney pick. Yeah, I mean, listen. And what's going on, Irish Mike, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. The Toney pick, I get it. Just like me, you believe strongly in the trenches. And I'll be the first to say, with that pick, I thought we were going Kwity Paye. I would have been completely fine with taking a lineman there. But after we traded down and we had the chance to take Rashawn Slater, I knew we weren't going to take a lineman there. I really did. I didn't think we were taking a lineman. I thought we were going D-line there. And knowing that we were going to either go D-line or wide receiver, I'm completely fine with the pick, because we ended up getting Azeez Ojulari at 50. But I'm with you. I would have liked to have gotten a young offensive lineman. But I do like Toney. I actually do like Toney. I recognize why some people are scared off by him. He's definitely not a safe pick. I'll be the first to tell you that. I'm not going to lie to you. He is not a safe pick. He is a guy that only has 1 year of wide receiver experience. But I do like him. I do think he fits exactly, and it's why I mentioned him in my reaction video. I'm like, oh, maybe Kadarius Toney, probably a little bit early, but I did like him. I liked him as a prospect. I think he's super versatile. I think he's a guy that can do so many different things, and I think he's a separation creator. It's kind of something that we needed. So I definitely got it. Like, I got why the Giants drafted him, but he's a risk. I'm not going to lie to you. He's definitely a risk. But usually when you're picking a guy at 22, wide receiver, it's going to be a risk. But I'm not gonna lie and say I'm in love with the pick, but all things considered, being that we got all the future draft capital that we got, I'm good with it. But he could be a miss. I'm not gonna lie. I think Toney is either gonna be a grand slam or he's gonna be like Tavon Austin. Like, I think he's gonna be. I don't think there's gonna be a middle with Toney. I think he's either gonna be. I'm not gonna go as far to say Tyreek Hill, because I think Hill's like one of the top 4 or 5 receivers in the league. But I think Toney's either going to be a top 10 or 15 receiver in this league when all is said and done, when he adapts to the game, hones his game, becomes a better route runner, and is utilized properly. I think he's going to be one of the top 10 or 15 weapons at the wide receiver position in the NFL, or he's going to be a complete miss. I don't think he's going to be in the middle. I don't think he's going to be like Sterling Shepard. Like, Sterling Shepard, to me, is a good receiver. I don't see that for Toney. I think Toney's either going to be a dynamic weapon, and it might not happen in his rookie year. Like I said, he's only got 1 year of wide receiver experience, or he's going to be a complete whiff. So it's a risky pick. Cody, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, we all know Dana would have Page bend the knees. What's up there, Cody, my man? And you're talking about on Twitter? Yeah, there are a couple of horn dogs over there. DJ, thank you very much. Chris, what's up, man? Are you worried about the Knicks' thoughts on the Nets-Celtics series? You guys are going to you guys will probably sweep the Celtics. If you're a Nets fan, you don't have a worry in the world until next round. I think the Bucks could give you a challenging series, but I think you'll beat them fairly easily. I think the Nets will beat the Bucks in 6. I'll give the Bucks 2 games, but I could easily see the Nets winning in 5. I don't think you'll sweep them. I think you'll sweep the Celtics. I think you'll beat the Bucks at 5 or 6. I think you'll beat the 6. I think the Nets are going to the finals. But I think the Sixers are probably your biggest threat. You don't have a good low post defender. I think Embiid will eat against your defense. Simmons will probably do a decent job against whoever they put him on. He's a great on-ball defender, but I think the Nets are going to win it this year. I do. But I definitely think you're getting to the finals. I think Philadelphia is your biggest threat. JD, man, thank you very much. He says, what Giants player that is receiving a lot of the offseason praise or hype to have a good season could you see not living up to it? Doesn't mean he was a bad pick, but not a great season if you had to pick. Okay. Great question, JD. By the way, I can't wait to have JD back on the channel. We're going to be talking Knicks. Maybe we'll mix in some Giants as well. We're going to have a podcast in about maybe like a month and a half after the NBA Finals and everything. We're going to be talking Knicks season round once a week. But as far as that goes, all right. So we're gonna talk. I hate talking negative, JD. You know that. I try to be as optimistic as possible. But if I had to pick one player that, and I'm not going to include injuries because you can't predict injuries. So if I'm going to include one player that Giants fans are banking on having a breakout season that could disappoint if he stays healthy, I think the obvious answer is Tony. I think the obvious answer is Kadarius Toney, and I like Kadarius Toney. I think Kadarius Toney is going to be good. But if I had to pick one guy that I think Giants fans are going to go in with super high expectations, and trust me, I am going to be pounding the table for Giants fans to be patient with Kadarius Toney because this is not your traditional wide receiver. He's a guy that I think may take a little bit of time to get put in the right spot on the offense. And I think as the season progresses, he could have a big part of this offense as they continue to grow and get better. But I think some Giants fans may go in with unrealistic expectations for Kadarius Toney? Yeah. I think some people may expect this guy to be an instant top 10 receiver in the NFL, top 50, and I don't see that happening. I think he's going to take some time. The Giants are going to have to – he's not your typical wide receiver. They're going to have to put him in the right positions to be able to get the most out of his skill set. But outside of him, I'll give you another name, high expectations. Yeah, you know what? And I like the signing again. But I'll go with Adoree Jackson as well. I could see Adoree Jackson disappointing on the opposite side of James Bradbury and he's still, even if he disappoints, he's better than Isaac Yiadom. But I could see him not being near as good as what the New York Giants ended up spending on him. I could see that as well. So if I had to pick two guys that Giants fans may be going in with higher expectations and they may not necessarily meet those expectations, I would go with Adoree Jackson and I would go with Kadarius Toney. Derry, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Evan Ingram, JJ said Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram. If Evan Ingram catches one pass, he exceeds Giants fans' expectations. Evan Ingram. Giants fans want him on the unemployment line. Let me see. And Darren says, do you think we double Trey? I think, yes. I think we have the major adjustment defensively that I think the New York Knicks will make going into game 2, Darian, is the pick and roll defense. They have to get better there. Noel was getting lost on the pick and roll. I think they definitely make a defensive adjustment in terms of guarding Trae Young. Whether that's doubling him, whether that's putting a more physical defender on him, they have to do something to try to disrupt that pick and roll. It's still going to work for them. He's cooked us all year if you watch the Hawks-Knicks games throughout the year, but it was too easy in that game. He was getting an open trip to the bucket every time on the pick and roll. So I think they will make a defensive adjustment. I don't know exactly what it'll be, but I think they will double him, yes. Adam, thank you very much. Julio, the Giants for Shep, and a 4th. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's getting creative. Maybe if you trade Shepard, I just don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. I don't think we'll get Julio. I know a lot of Giants fans want him, but I really don't want him. And Harry, man, I really don't think we'll get him. Harry, man, thank you very much. Hey, Chris, on my lunch break, I like the Giants drafted trades. We have 10 picks next year, setting up for a bright future. With this defense we have, barring injuries, if the offense is average, 11 wins. Harry, man, first off, I hope you're enjoying your lunch break. Hope everybody's enjoying their lunch break if you're at work. Thank you to everybody for all your support. You guys always show on the channel. Thank you very much. Harry, as far as what you had to say there, I agree. I love our offseason. I love our offseason. And the reason that I loved our offseason as much as I did had as much to do with the future as it did the present. Okay? I loved our offseason. All the future draft capital that we got and the signings that we did make, I think it was necessary aggression, but I think it was smart aggression because none of these signings are more than 3 years. I know Galladay's 4, but you could get out after 3. They're not 5-year deals. They didn't hamper themselves in terms of salary cap long term. Next year, they're going to have to be conservative, but you knew that was going to be the case because the salary cap was down. They had to find a way to maneuver the money to get these guys in here. And Daniel Jones was on the 3rd year of his rookie deal. They had to be aggressive, but I think they did it in a smart way. I love the Giants offseason. As far as the rest of your comment goes, the 10 picks, everything else, bright future. And if the offense is average, I agree. Minimum 11 wins. If the offense is 15th, we're winning 11 games this year. I agree. Because I can't see the defense being outside of the top 7 or 8 unless we have crazy injuries. So if the offense is league average, we're winning 11 games. I agree with you. Now, I think that's the biggest question mark going into this year, Harry. Can the offense be league average? And I think the major question mark I have, and I think the thing that will decide whether or not we have an average offense, because the weapons are there, is the offensive line. I mean, obviously Jones, but I think if we have an average offensive line, Jones will be able to get the job done. Nick, man, thank you very much. You should ask Freezy, Uncle Ron, and G-Man. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do that after the next Knicks game, or maybe I'll go on one of their channels. Nick, I love those. I try to support all the Knicks content creators as best as I can. But yeah, maybe I'll pop on one of their streams later this week, or like I said, maybe after game 2. Let's see. Will, man, thank you very much. Rushing, passing, touchdown prediction for Jones, ballpark. Huh. Okay. By the way, I'm gonna give you a bold hot take prediction this year for Kadarius Toney. And I actually posted this on Twitter, and it's a fun prediction. And I could be completely wrong. And then I'm gonna get into your question, Will. I think I forgot the stat. I think it was 4 players in the history of football that have thrown, caught, and rushed for a touchdown in the same game. I think Kadarius Toney is capable of doing that. And I don't know if it'll happen this year. Before his career is done, my bold prediction for Toney is he's on that list. I think Toney this year throws for at least 1, if not 2 touchdowns. I think they're going to use Toney in the Wildcat a little bit. I think they're going to have some trick plays. You saw last year that the New York Giants had some innovation with this offense, right? With the fake field goal. They had some innovation with this offense. And with the weapons they have provided, I think they're going to get a little bit more creative this year. I think you're going to see them have a little trickeration. I think Toney's going to have a few passing attempts. I think he'll throw at least 1, if not 2 touchdowns. As far as Daniel Jones goes, the ballpark. Okay, 17 games. So I'm going to base this prediction on that he will not get hurt. He's going to play 17 games. And I think a lot of people just look at last year and they say 30 touchdowns is crazy. Is it? Is 30 touchdowns crazy for Daniel Jones? Because last I checked, he threw 24 touchdowns in his rookie season in 12 games. Had he played 16, he was going to throw 32. If he followed that average over the other 4 games. Maybe he wouldn't have, but either way, he would have thrown 27, 28. He's got an extra game this year. He got Saquon Barkley back. And I say it all the time. He's a different quarterback with Barkley. He's got 23 touchdowns in 10 games with Barkley in the lineup. He's got 12 touchdowns in 17 games without him in the lineup. So he's got Barkley back. He added Kenny Golladay. He added Kadarius Toney. He's playing an extra game. He's more experienced in the offense. I'm going over 30 touchdowns this year for Daniel Jones in the air. Call that a bold take. I believe it. 31 touchdowns for Jones in the air this year. 31 touchdowns, I'll say 14 or 15 picks. I think he throws more picks because I think the Giants get more aggressive this year. I think they take more shots down the field, and I think it lends itself to more interceptions. So I'm going to go with like 31 touchdowns and 14 or 15 picks. That's honestly what I believe is going to happen, somewhere in that ballpark. And I think he runs for about, I'll say 3 or 4. I think he's going to have a good year. I really believe that. I think he's going to have a good year. And Will, man, thank you very much. And Tyler says, in my opinion, games 2 and 5 are must wins, and we should also win either game 3 or 4. By the way, I think it'll take 2 first to trade for up. I don't think that's the case, but I wouldn't even think about that. But I think Atlanta obviously has no leverage now that he came out and said this. He's 32. He makes a good amount of money. I don't think it's going to take 2 first. I think you might be able to get him for a second. But definitely not more than 1 first. Games 2 and 5 are must wins. I'm not going to say game 2 is a must win. I'm not going to say game 2 is a must win. It's in Washington. It's Thursday night football. We only have 3 days to prepare. I think a split with Washington is a must, but if we lose in week 2, I think we could beat them, the last game of the season. I think we need to split with Washington. I'll say that, but I don't think – and week 5 I think is Dallas, isn't it? Wait, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I know we play Washington week 2. We play the Falcons week 3. Yeah, we play Dallas week 5 because we play the Saints week 4, and that's in Dallas. So I'm not going to say either one's a must win. I think a split with both those teams is a must. So whether we win in Dallas or at home, I think we need to split with them. But I won't say either one of those are must wins. I'm going to give you my must wins. I think Atlanta's a must win week 3. I hate to put the must win label week 1, but it's damn close. We need to beat Denver and we need to beat Atlanta. Those 2 games I think are imperative. I think the Giants, if we intend to make the playoffs this year, I think we need to get off to a good start. We have not gotten off to a good start in forever. I think if that could happen, maybe there's a trickle-down effect. Maybe they start to get confident, and maybe they pick up one or 2 of these teams that you don't see coming. But I think the Giants finally have an opportunistic schedule where they don't have a bear of a schedule to start the season. And I look at game 1 and I look at game 3, and I look at those as games that the Giants, in my opinion, should win. And if they win those games, you get up to a nice 2-1, maybe even a 3-0 start. I'm not predicting that. And that may translate into, maybe they start to get hot. Maybe they start to pick off some teams you don't necessarily think. So if I had to label a game early in the season as a must win, I think it's the Falcons for sure week 3. And I think Denver is close. I think those games are much more closer to a must win than weeks 2 and 5. But Tyler, man, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. Let's see. And Brian, thank you very much. The Knicks should let Trae Young shoot those step threes. I'm with you on that. I would much sooner let him shoot the 3 ball than at this point, that's the adjustment they should make. He's the guy's getting to the hoop at will. So if that means you're going to have to give up a couple of open looks from deep, I'd sooner give him that than give him the easy trips that they did to the basket. So I'm with you on that. Jonathan, man, thank you very much. I can't wait to hear the crowd erupt when Ingram catches his first pass. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a sarcastic cheer when Evan Ingram catches his first ball this year at Giants Stadium. Tyler says, I meant the Knicks. What was that in reference to? I don't even remember. Tyler, let me scroll up. You meant the Knicks. Oh, my mistake. Because I saw Julio, so I thought you were talking about the Giants. Sorry about that, Tyler. I didn't mean to misinterpret your super chat. As far as the Knicks goes, yeah. Game 2 is absolutely a must-win. Game 2, I'll take it a step further. Game 2 is a must-win. Game 5 is a must-win. And they have to split games 3 and 4. If the Knicks don't win 3 out of the next 4 games, they lost. If the Knicks if the Knicks are going, I'm not going to say definitely lost, but very small chance of winning the series. If the Knicks are going to Atlanta down 3-2, I don't have confidence that they're winning the series. They got to win 3 out of the next 4. Game 2 is a must win. They got to split in Atlanta, and they got to win game 5. DJ Smooth, thank you very much. Is Jones in your top 5 next year? No. Will he be a leader average? I think slightly above average. To you, is he going to be Allen, Brady, Mahomes tier? No. I'm not setting those expectations. Absolutely not. No. Like I said, I think he's going to have about a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, like he did his rookie year, 24-12, more games, 17. He only played 12 games in his rookie year, more acclimated to the scheme, more weapons. I'm looking more like a 30-to-15 ratio, 31, 32 in that ballpark. Yeah, something like that. That's where I'm thinking this year. Baker tier, yes, I think that's possible. But Baker had a really good year last year. He only threw, I think, 8 picks. But I think he could have the jump, the type of jump Baker did year 2 to 3. I could see that. And yeah, man, absolutely, Randy, man. Good luck tomorrow, buddy. I believe the Knicks will take the series. I will let you know at the end of game 4 what my if the Knicks are tied 2-2 after 4, I think they're going to win the series. And I thought we were going to get a split at Madison Square Garden, but I thought we'd win game 1, and I thought the Hawks would win game 2. So I'll let you know at the end of game 4 what I think is going to happen. Chairman, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. We all know that no matter what happens, the Knicks still run New York. The Nets will suffer and win 2 to 3 championships with their 500 fans. Listen, at the end of the day, I have fun with Nets fans, okay? I'm a Knicks fan. I have fun with Nets fans. I think it's fun to have a little bit of a friendly rivalry. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm happy for any real Nets fan. Anybody that's been a passionate Nets fan, like I've been a Knicks fan their whole life, here's the other thing I'll say. I'll even be happy for the new Nets fans. The people that went over to Brooklyn, because in my opinion, you bandwagon. That's what you did. The people that went over to Brooklyn after Kevin Durant went to the Nets, after they got Kyrie Irving, because you show an easy route to a championship. I will even be happy for those people under one circumstance. I don't want to see you ever touch an orange and blue uniform. If you stay with Brooklyn when things get bad, when Kevin Durant is done, Kyrie Irving is done, and you stay a Nets fan, I'm happy for you. If you become one of these flip-floppers, the second that the Nets are out of it and the Knicks are starting to improve, I don't want you. I want you nowhere near the Garden. I don't want you in my Knicks streams rooting for the Knicks. You choose the Nets, you stick with your team. I am sick and tired of NBA fans and their flip-flopper. I hate it. I hate these player fans. I hate this instant gratification. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. You pick a team and you stick with them. And that's why I love Knicks fans. That's why I love Knicks fans, because Knicks fans are in it through the thick of it. They don't hop around. DJ Spoon, man, thank you very much. Why can't he be tier 1? He doesn't have the talent. He doesn't have the talent to be on that level. He just doesn't. I agree, Alvin. There's always flip-flop fans, but I don't feel happy for those fans. To me, though, I don't feel happy for those fans. Randall shot 6 of 25, and RJ had 14 points, and the Hawks won by a lucky 3 and helped with the refs, and only won by 2. We were fine. Oh, listen, Arian, I still am confident we're right in this series. For all the reasons you just said. Randall didn't perform. The one thing I will say, though, if we're going to play devil's advocate, the Hawks didn't play great either. The Hawks missed a lot of shots. But I agree with you. Randall wasn't on his game. We didn't get the calls. I think we'll respond. I think we'll win game 2. I think we'll be right back in the series. I'm not nervous yet. We lose game 2, I'm nervous. But I think we'll respond. I think we'll win game 2. And Chairman James, thank you very much. To me, Jones' biggest issues are between the ears. I would agree. I think that's fair. Yes, I would agree with that. I think the physical skills are there. I think he needs to mature as a decision maker. I agree with that. I think last year the New York Giants, and I don't think it was really because of Jones necessarily. I mean, I think it was situational. I think it was because he was learning a new offense, but I also think that it had to do that Joe Judge was smart enough to know the New York Giants have offensive limitations. We don't have the weapons. We have a brand new offensive line that's never played together. So I think the offensive game plan last year was be as conservative as possible, because that's the only way we're going to stay in these football games. But I don't think it was necessarily strictly because of Daniel Jones. I think it had to do with a lot of factors. Everything. So last year, you didn't really see him make as many mistakes as the year progressed because they didn't put him in the position to do so. But this year, I think they will. I think they're going to put him in the position to kind of air it out a lot more than they did last year. And His rookie year, I agree with you. I think he made some poor decisions. I think he struggled in terms of against zone defense, but you have to hope that he matures as a quarterback this year 3. And if he doesn't, well, you got your answer. But I'd be lying if I said I'm completely convinced that he's got it all upstairs and he's going to be a good decision maker and everything else. I think he could be. And I think with the parts that they put around him, he should be a better quarterback this year. But let's see. Tana, how come the NBA didn't let CP3 come to the Lakers when Kobe was there, but they let Harden come to the Nets? Yeah, Matthew, I remember that briefly. There was a trade. I don't remember. I think they deemed that the trade was it wasn't enough, whatever it was, but it ended up looking stupid. I think that they didn't want to give the Lakers a super team, and then LeBron kind of blew that all up when he went to the Heat, and that became the new norm. If I remember correctly, with that CP3 trade, in the end, they should have allowed it. I mean, they should have allowed it. They shouldn't have blocked the trade. I don't remember exactly what the trade was. Chairman James, thank you very much. I think Garrett will be fine too. Look at how good he had the Dallas offense when he was the coordinator for Romo with the weapons approved. We'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm pretty consistent when it comes to Garrett. I think Garrett, and by no means do I think Garrett's a great offensive coordinator. I don't. But I think Garrett gets more hate than he deserves by some Giants fans. That's just my honest opinion. I think you need to remain consistent with your criticisms. And again, a lot of people that say that Garrett is the major problem or near the only problem with why this offense is the way they are, use excuses for Daniel Jones. That doesn't add up to me. Like, if you're going to use that Daniel Jones doesn't have the weapons, then I could use that same excuse for Garrett. So to me, I was all for running it back. If you're going to bring Jones back, bring Garrett back too. I don't want any cluster in the head. Come back, more familiarity in the offense, and give him year 2 in the same offense and see what he could do. So my opinion on Garrett, I think, is the same I have of Jones. Did I like the offense last year? No. Was there creativity? No. But he had limitations. They couldn't block. They didn't have wide receivers that could get open. So let's run it back. Let's see what happens. That's my thought on Jason Garrett. And what's up there, Daniel C. Man? Thanks for popping in. Jones in the line is more of a worry than Garrett. I would say the line, to me, right now is my biggest worry. The line is my biggest worry. Jack, thank you very much. He says, on the topic of bandwagoning, I'm going to be laughing when all these TV personalities suddenly like the Giants after years of clowning us when we win. Listen, man, at the end of the day, like, I'm a Knicks fan, Jack. And like somebody said earlier, you're always going to, I think Albert said it, you're always going to have bandwagon fans. And as a Knicks fan, it just comes with the territory. Like, I know it's good to have bandwagon fans because that means your team's doing good. But am I happy for those fans? No, because you didn't have to go through the same struggle. You didn't put in the investment that I did. So that's just my take on bandwagon fans. But as far as listen, Jack, I've lived through it for years with the New York Giants, and the Giants are going to get media hate no matter how good the team is. They're going to get media hate no matter how good the team is. It's just the way it works. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. The team hasn't been a winning football team forever, but even when they're good, they're going to get media hate. That's just the way it works because that's what sells. They know that fans want drama. They're always going to go out of their way to bash the New York Giants. Even when I'm telling you right now, that's what's going to happen. Ryan, thank you very much. Jones needs an elite O-line due to his lack of a mental clock. Our offseason plan should have been to protect Jones. Instead, we gave him more options to process, which could lead to more sack pressures. Ryan, I definitely get where you're going. My thought process, Ryan, is like I'm trying to put myself in the head of Judge and Gettleman and trying to rationalize what they thought with their offseason plan. And I think what they think is by adding those weapons, like you go back, you watch any Giants game last year. We were the most predictable offense ever, especially after Barkley went down. And every team sent the house almost every play. They knew we weren't going to have receivers that were going to get open. They knew we couldn't run the ball. And it was basically like it was an all-out blitz. It was basically, you play the game NFL blitz, you play Madden. It was like an all-out blitz every play. They knew it was coming. And I think the thought process from Gettleman and Judge, and we're going to see if they're right, is that by adding these weapons, it's going to make the offense less predictable and it's going to help the offensive line. That's what I think their thought process is, and I hope they're right. I am a little skeptical. I hope they're right, and I hope by doing what they did, it makes their job easier and these young players that they drafted become better. But yeah, I'd be lying to you if I said I don't have any doubts going into the year about this line. You'd be stupid if you didn't. This offensive line hasn't been good in 10 years, and we lost our most accomplished offensive lineman last year with Kevin Zeitler. So, I mean, it's definitely a question mark going into the year. Steve Harvey, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says a lot of people are ignoring the Suns. I don't know if you watched that game, but they're not going to let the Lakers win without a fight. Good series ahead. Yeah, I did not watch the game. Steve, I'm going to be the first to say it, and it's why I don't stream other games. I know a lot of people stream like every playoff game. When it comes to the playoffs, they'll do, like I only care about the Knicks. Not to mention I lose my voice every time I do a Knicks game. I did not watch the Suns game, but I do follow the NBA, and I am a big fan of DeAndre Ayton. That's why I invested as much as I did in his sports cards this year, and hopefully has a good series. I think Chris Paul's done a great job over there. I think the Suns are going to beat the Lakers if they stay healthy. I think I heard that Paul got hurt. I could be wrong on that. I think I heard that he got hurt. I didn't watch the game, but I think the Suns are going to beat the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers are playing good going into the playoffs. I think the Suns are going to beat the Lakers if they stay healthy. I believe that, especially if they're getting off to a 1-0 start. I would not be surprised at all if they beat the Lakers. They haven't played together all year, Sugar Tots. They haven't played together all year. They're coming together now as the playoffs start. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate the Lakers. I hope the Lakers get swept. I'm not going to lie to you. But I really think the Suns are going to beat them. I really believe that. I think the Suns are going to beat them. Sing, man, thank you very much. What about Shepard Ingram, 2023 first-round pick, 2022 third-round pick for Julio Jones? In my eyes, I see Julio better than Shepard and Ingram. What about Shepard Ingram and a 2023 third-round pick? I mean, that's a fantasy trade. It's not happening. But, I mean, I guess it's fair value. But it's not going to happen, man. High Spirit Fitness, man. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, Kyle Rudolph to help Evan Ingram in the classroom and become an elite tight end. I don't think Rudolph will be. You mean Ingram will be an elite tight end? That's great that you're positive and you want to think that way. I think Ingram, and I'm not going to do it. I am not going to predict it because he screwed me last year. I think Ingram this year, though, would I be shocked if he's a lot better than Giants fans think he's going to be? No. But I'm not picking it. I don't trust the guy. But with less responsibility, at least my optimistic side is saying to myself, last year was the number one guy in the offense. This year he's like number 4. He's not going to get the same coverage. He's not going to have as much pressure as he had last year. And maybe that translates to him playing better. Maybe less is more with him. But I don't think Ingram's with the Giants long term. I don't think we're re-signing him. I could be wrong. Obviously, there's rumors that the New York Giants like him. I don't think it'll be in the budget. I don't think the New York Giants are going to spend a lot of money on Evan Ingram. I think this will be his last year as a New York Giant. I don't think he'll be traded, though. I think he's going to play this year with the Giants. And I think he could have a better year than last year. And maybe not statistically because he won't get as many targets. But I think he could have a solid year. But I'm not going to predict it because the guy screwed me last year. And Steve Harvey, he says, do you think Quickly should start game 2? I'm going to say no. No. I think he should get maybe a couple more minutes, but I'm going to say no. And it has nothing to do with Quickly as a basketball player. I think Quickly's a better player than Peyton at this point in time. I just like Quickly off the bench. I think the Knicks bench has been our biggest strength all year, and I think it provides that spark when they come into the game. Like you saw it yesterday. When the bench came in, the Knicks made up a huge difference. I think we take advantage of other teams' benches, and I think we need that spark off the bench. Like if you don't have that instant score off the bench with a guy like Quickly, I think it almost kind of hurts the team. I think he gets more opportunities playing with the second unit than he would with the first. So I'm going to say no. Maybe he gets a couple of extra minutes, but I actually like Quickly coming off the bench. What's up there, Irishman? Thanks for popping in. And Vasily says, what up, Chris? Rough game last night. Don't panic. Knicks at 6. We need Peyton out the lineup, though. Sorry, been really busy, but not been active in the channel lately. Don't worry about it, Vasily, man. I think it's going 7 if we're going to win. I think it'll be Hawks at 6 or Knicks at 7. I don't think we'll win at 6. I think it's going to be Hawks. And I thought that before the series started. It had nothing to do with yesterday's outcome. I think if the Knicks win, it's going to go 7. And I think if the Hawks win, it'll go 6. Because my thinking is the Hawks close it out at home. Game 6. If it gets to game 7, I think the Knicks close it out at home. So I think if the Knicks win, it'll be in 7. And I think if the Hawks win, it'll be in 6. What's up there, Rayo man? Thanks, popping in, buddy. What did you think about LeBron came out and said he wanted to go to New York, but wife stopped it and went to LA instead? I didn't hear that. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. Would I have been happy if LeBron James came here? Of course. I'd be lying if I told you otherwise. I still think he's the best player on the planet. If he's not, he's top 2 or 3. Who knows? He's played with New York his whole career and he never came here. Who knows, man? A lot of players, I'll say one thing. Kevin Durant didn't have it. Kevin Durant didn't have it. He wouldn't be able to handle the pressure of the New York fan base, the Knicks fan base. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it was ever meant to be, man. WP says, am I setting up unrealistic expectations for Ojulari? I really think he's going to be a front runner. I think he's going to be – I think it's fair to think he could be a top 5 candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Just for opportunities alone, I think it's fair to have that he could be a top 5 Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. I think he's going to get on the field. I think he's going to play. I think he's in a defense that could get the most out of his abilities. Georgia plays a similar defense. I think he fits the scheme very well. I think it'll be an easy transition. So I think just from that perspective, I think he should be considered a top 5 candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to get on the field. I think he's going to get opportunities. And I don't really view this class as a strong defensive draft class. There's no players in this class outside of maybe Parsons who I think is going to have a mega rookie year. So I think it's definitely a possibility. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Steve. I'm with you on that. I don't think he was ever coming to the Knicks. I don't think he was coming to the Knicks, ever thought about coming to the Knicks the first time, and I doubt he was thinking about coming to the Knicks the second time. What's up, Clara? Thanks for popping in. Hey, Chris, I believe you will in the next game. Stand up. LeBron hates New York, just like poking at us. Gonna watch. I agree with you. I don't think he was ever coming here. And Colin says, Tana, thank you for all the content we appreciate. Hey, man, thank you. You know, right now it's kind of like the dead time. So, like, rather than make, like, all these hypothetical videos, like, you know, hot take videos, I'm like, I'll just go live and try to do it once, maybe twice a week and talk with you guys and answer some of your questions during the dead time of the season because I'm still trying to maintain Giants content, but I'm not trying to make, like, watered down content. Like, there's nothing to talk about right now. I'm not going to lie to you in terms of, you know, current events. So I'd rather wait till training camp to start talking about training camp battles and this and that. And it's going to be coming up real soon, and we're going to have a lot of video content then. But I'm trying to still, you know, talk some Giants with you guys during the offseason, during the deadest times. We'll definitely have a lot, you know, probably just at least a stream a week doing this. If the Giants were to trade for Julio, what would you give up? I mean, no more than a second-round pick. I don't want. I don't want to trade for him because I just don't view it as a need, and I don't want to give up future draft capital. But I wouldn't give up more than a second-round pick. He's 32 years old. He makes a lot of money, and that's a strength of ours right now. I think we have a good wide receiver core. So, I would not trade for him. Yes. Yeah, I was watching Sim stream last night, nothing but Knicks, and they all said it was a must-win outside of one guy, and he was kind of hinting that it wasn't. No, I am not going to paint a pretty picture for my stream on Wednesday. It's a must-win. It's a must-win. If the Knicks lose game 2, am I still as a fan going to believe there's a slight possibility? Sure. But realistically speaking, if the Knicks lose game 2, it's lights out. It was a great season. It was a fun season. More than likely not winning the series if we lose game 2. It's a must-win. Chris, go to a Giants game, find a girl, and marry her. It's that easy. It's that easy. I'll have like a kissing booth at the Giants game. Tana, is Julio a Hall of Famer? I mean, I don't know his career stats off the top of my head, but I would venture to guess yes. I don't think it's the NFL Hall of Fame is not nearly as prestigious as the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I would venture to guess yes. Yes. IQJ says, I would like to see the Knicks if our guards get stuck on the screen for our players to completely switch that way. At least we have a body on Young instead of letting him walk in with a floater. I would like to see the Knicks if our guards get stuck on that screen for our players to just. I think one thing I'd like to see our defense do next game, IQJ, is be more aggressive. Maybe more full court presses. Get physical with Trae Young. Make him work to get the ball across midcourt. I think we're going to struggle in the pick and roll. We've struggled against it all year against the Hawks, but get more physical on him. Beat him up a little bit. I'd like to see that. Maybe more pressured defense. Maybe more full court presses. Things of that nature. Maybe make them waste 6-7 seconds before they get it across half court, before they set up the offense. Don't make it as easy on them to get the ball across midcourt. Unbiased, do you think Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer? Call it what you want. Eli Manning it's not only I don't even think it should be a question. And maybe you call me biased. I don't even think it should be a question. I'm going to say the same thing to you that I say to everybody else. If Eli Manning played in almost any other market, it wouldn't be a question. People would say 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, top 10 in yards, top 10 in touchdowns. What are we talking about? Second all time in terms of most consecutive streak. I think, some people like to paint this picture because his last name is a Manning. It's an advantage for him to make Hall of Fame. I disagree. I think it's a disadvantage. I think people put him up against Peyton just because of the Manning name. Not to say that they think he's as good as Peyton, but I think it adds more pressure on his performance as an NFL quarterback. Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. I don't even think it's a debate. It's funny to me that people make this up and that this is a debate. Like, the guy won 2 Super Bowls. He won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. The guy threw for the most yards in the history of the NFL in a single playoff. The guy's an MVP. The guy's a Hall of Famer, rather. And the Giants failed him over the second half of his career. And that's the other thing. People point to the record because that's the only thing that they could grasp onto. They'll say, oh, he's a 500 quarterback. Okay. Warren Moon was below 500 if you include his playoff record. He was a tremendous quarterback. He's in the Hall of Fame. Record is a team stat. It's not an individual stat. So, yes, Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Steve says, I don't like the player fan thing either, Chris. As an older Knicks fan, but that's just the NBA today. Players like LeBron, KD, and Steph have more fans than this. I agree, and I hate it. And I'm not going to change, Steve. I'm sticking with the team that I grew up rooting for. I know people are different when it comes to basketball than football. Football, it's more so about teams, even though I think people definitely are player fans as well. They have their quarterbacks that they like. But that's me. I grew up a Knicks fan. I'm going to live and die with my team. I hate it. I hate that mentality. Oh, I'm a Steph Curry fan. Oh, I'm a Trae Young fan. Oh, I'm a LeBron James fan. Oh, I'm a Zion Williams fan. Pick a team, man. That's just me. I don't agree with that mentality. I think it creates bandwagon jumping. I think it creates fans. I think it's almost like an instant gratification mindset. Oh, I like the best player in the league. So whatever team he goes to, I'm going to root for. That way I know they're going to make the playoffs every year. They're going to win 55 games every year. And they're always going to be in contention to win a championship. Because if you get a lot of LeBron James fans. I'm a LeBron James fan. Okay, well, so basically you're a fan of a team that's going to win 55 to 60 games every year. So you have an easy way out. Like, that's silly to me. I don't understand that mindset. That's my personal opinion. What's going on there, Soul Brother, man? Thanks for popping in. Do you consider Evan Ingram a bust? Yes. He's a first-round pick. Absolutely a bust. Absolutely a bust. Listen, man, I think grown-ups do it too. I don't think it's just brand new. I think you used to have Jordan fans. I think it's obviously much more common now. But you used to have Jordan fans. You used to have Shaq fans. You used to have Kobe fans. But it's much more common now. What's up there, BK Reacts, man? Thanks for popping in. Record is absolutely a player stat. The players play. One player can control if you win or lose a game. The Buccaneers are not a Oh, so record is okay. Okay. Record is a player stat? Record's a player stat. So one player in the ultimate team sport, a 53-man roster, like you act like Tom Brady inherited dog shit. Sure, Tom Brady influenced the win total. Tom Brady went to a team with one of the best pass rushers in football. He had weapons all over the place. He had a great offensive line. Of course, the quarterback influences the record. But to say that there's plenty of great quarterback, Deshaun Watson. What do you think of Deshaun Watson as a quarterback? He won 4 games this year. What do you think of Deshaun? 3 games, I think. 3 or 4 games. What do you think of Deshaun Watson as a quarterback? Record is a team stat. There's plenty of great players that have been on horrible football teams. Record's a team stat. Eli Manning had a horrible football team the last half of his career. Chris, sorry, it's been a while. I've been busy with exams, but I'm back. Knicks will be fine, and we'll win it. I think it'll be 7. I think it'll be 7. I still am going to stick with my initial prediction. Tom Brady inherited a coach who's a Super Bowl game plan against the Bills. Dude, Tom Brady's not stupid. Okay? Tom Brady's not stupid. And I know that's what people will say. Oh, the Bucs only won 7 games the year before. And I'm not knocking Tom Brady. Okay? It's kind of like an actor. My favorite actor is Tom Cruise. So I'm going to compare it to that. I love Tom Cruise. And I'm not saying he's the best actor and he's a lunatic, so I get why people don't like him. But every movie the guy makes, I love. I love all the Mission Impossibles. Every movie that Tom Cruise makes, I absolutely love. He's my favorite actor ever. Tom Cruise ain't stupid. Tom Cruise picks roles he knows are going to be good scripts and are going to be good movies, and he will get awards, and they'll make a lot of money. Okay? He's very selective in the scripts that he picks. It's the same thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady wouldn't have rushed to go to the Tampa Bay Bucs if he thought it was a bad situation. The Tampa Bay Bucs had a great pass rush, great offensive line. They had weapons, more weapons than you knew what to do with. Tom Brady knew what he was doing. So to act like they weren't a good football team is false. That team lost like four or five games the year before by like 3 or 4 points with Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions. They went 7-9 with Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions. So all Tom Brady had to do was basically go there and be okay. And he was much better than okay. But if he went there and threw 15 picks, they were going to win 12 games, 11 games. They were a good football team. Bill, Matt, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Eli is definitely Hall of Fame. He beat the best quarterback head coach combo in the history and did it twice in the Super Bowl. By definition, if you beat the best, you are the best. F you haters. I'm with you, man. I'm completely with you on that, Bill. I'm not going to say he's the best. I'm not going to go, obviously, I'm not going to be that biased. But at the end of the day, I could go over all the stats. Like I said, top 10 in yards, top 10 in touchdowns, second all time in the Iron Man streak, the 2 Super Bowl MVPs. At the end of the day, like so many people have said now for countless times, you can't tell the story of the NFL without Eli Manning. And Eli Manning is responsible for probably 2 of the top 5 greatest moments in the history of the NFL. When you factor in there's no doubt about it, the 18-0 Patriots, I think it's the greatest moment in the history of the NFL. And maybe I'm biased as a Giants fan. The 18-0 Patriots, the greatest team in the history of the NFL. Eli Manning went down the field. Like everybody says with the defense, Michael Strand didn't orchestrate that drive. Eli Manning was responsible for the game-winning drive against the greatest team in the history of football in the Super Bowl. And people act like it was just that one game. The guy went into Lambeau Field in negative 30 degrees with the wind. He beat Brett Favre, who never lost in Lambeau Field in the playoffs. The guy went into Dallas against the 13-3 Dallas Cowboys football team, and he outplayed Tony Romo. Then he goes out in 2011 and he beats 15-1 Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers, who had maybe the greatest single season ever statistically in the history of the NFL that year. He had like a 121 QB rating. He beat him in Green Bay. Then he got his Bulls beat in against the San Francisco 49ers. He got wrecked. He must have got hit 25 times in that game. He broke every rib in his body. Didn't throw a pick with like 55 passing attempts, whatever it was. And then he beats the Patriots again. He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. And the throw to Manningham might be the greatest throw in the history of the NFL. When you factor in the circumstance, when you factor in there's 3:40 to go or 4 minutes to go in the Super Bowl, first play of the drive, 95% of quarterbacks don't even have the balls to attempt that pass. I'm telling you right now, Alex Smith ain't even thinking about making that throw. 95% of quarterbacks in that situation don't even have the balls to let that ball leave their hand. Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Stop. One of my favorite moments as a Giant. Yeah. That was a beautiful throw to Manning. I was shocked, and Manning made the great play. The throw was it was a great catch. The throw to me was even more impressive than the catch. Like Manningham didn't have a choice but to catch it. That's how good the throw was. What's up there, Chris Gonzalez, man? Thanks for popping in. Well, there you go. There's another perfect example. Please look at Pat Mahomes' Super Bowl. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, people have their biases, WP, and you learn that as you get older and older and older. People have their biases. And again, I don't want to seem like an Aaron Rodgers apologist, okay? I like Aaron Rodgers. Everybody knows that. But I only use it as a comparison because the variables are all the same. Aaron Rodgers played the same exact football team 2 weeks earlier with the Green Bay Packers as Pat Mahomes did. And again, this is not bashing Pat Mahomes. Like you said, it's a team, okay? Aaron Rodgers got sacked 5 times against the Tampa Bay Bucs. Aaron Rodgers was missing his all-pro left tackle. And he had to go against that same defense. Aaron Rodgers threw three touchdowns and I think 1 pick in which the player made a great play. Pat Mahomes put up 9 points. But the phrasing after both of those games, one was Aaron Rodgers choked. It was all on Aaron Rodgers. And then in the Super Bowl, the offensive line couldn't block for Pat Mahomes. So and I'm just using that as an example, but people pick and choose how they want to label players and how they evaluate players. And with Eli Manning, some people just don't like him. So they go out of their way to try to justify why he's not a Hall of Famer. I saw a bracket of, well, I mean, in terms of talent, he's more talented. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Pat Mahomes is one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. Quickly, the next Trae Young, book it. I don't know about that, my man. I don't know about that, my man. John says, if Eli Manning did nothing else but that 2011 run, would that be enough for the Hall of Fame? No. I would say no. Even though that 2011 season, to me, was one of the greatest seasons of all time for a quarterback. When you factor in the totality of the season, what he did with that team. And there's still fans to this day that say that Eli Manning was carried. Giants fans included in that. He had the 27th ranked defense and the 32nd ranked rushing attack for the regular season. He carried that team to the playoffs. Threw for 5,000 yards in the regular season. That year is one of the greatest years ever I've ever seen a quarterback have. But no, if he didn't have the first Super Bowl, he's not a Hall of Famer. But he does. So he's a Hall of Famer. Who emerges as the second option at wide receiver? I would say going in, I would say Shepard. I would say Shepard. I think Shepard, at least in my opinion, is our second best wide receiver going into the year. Now that may change. Maybe Tony overtakes him. Maybe Slayton is better than I think he's going to be. You could argue that Barkley may be our second best option in the passing game, but I would go with Shepard. I think Shepard's our number 2 right now. Can we start Frank next and not Elf? I agree. I would give Frank the minutes that Elf gets. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Play your defense. That's it. Elf don't play. Stand up. I think that's a fake Fruitcake account, but regardless, the official sponsor of the channel. Nations, my mods say when I give out mods. So I don't give them out anymore because we've had way too many. So that's why, and I always have problems. Evan Ingram says, have no fear. Your favorite Pro Bowlers here. Oh, God. What's up there, Evan Ingram? Have I seen Mortal Kombat? No. Is it a show, John? I have not. I saw the movie back in the day when it came out. I didn't even know they made a show. They made a show? I'll have to check it out, man. All Roger had to do against the Bucs was walk in the end zone in the fourth. Hey, I get it. But he had to deal with the same defense that Mahomes did, and people made excuses. I'm just using that as an example. Like, people like to pick and choose the players that they feel deserve to be credited. Like, I could have used the same reasoning for Mahomes. Mahomes did nothing. He didn't put any points on the board. But people said that his offensive line didn't block. Rodgers' offensive line didn't block either. The guy was pressured the whole game. He got sacked 5 times. Oh, it's a new movie. Okay. What did it go straight to HBO? I'll check it out. Nation says, what do you think a team like the Bills or Baltimore would have to give up for Julio? Some people have been asking me this also. I think it's a second-round pick. Maybe a first, but I think it's a second because they have no leverage. Atlanta has no leverage, and he makes a lot of money, and he's 32, 33 years old. I think it's a second-round pick, maybe a first, but I think it's a second-round pick. Chris, rank our wideouts. I mean, it's hard to rank them because I don't know what Tony's going to be. He's a rookie. But right now, based off the unknown today, I'd go Galladay 1. I'd go Shepard 2. I think I'd go Tony 3, and I'd go Slayton 4. Yeah. And then I'd probably go Ross 5 and Pettis 6. I think that's how I'd rank our wide receivers right now. Did I see LT play? Not really, no. I started watching the Giants pretty hardcore around 97, 96, 97. Maybe I saw the tail end of his career, but I wasn't fixated on football at the time. Tiana says, as long as DJ delivers at least one Super Bowl, it doesn't matter whether he's a top 10 quarterback or people like him or not. I agree. Tiana, at the end of the day, and let me ask the chat, and let me ask you, Tiana. At the end of the day, and everybody has their own opinion. Some people would rather be the better quarterback. For me, I don't hesitate. At the end of the day, whose career would you rather have? Dan Marino or Eli Manning? And again, I'm not saying Eli Manning is better than Dan Marino. I'm saying going into your career, whose career would you rather have? And I don't hesitate. I'm taking the guy who won 2 championships. At the end of the day, in 100 years, yeah, Dan Marino will be remembered for his incredible 1984 season. He'll be remembered for his incredible career. He'll be remembered for getting no help with the Miami Dolphins, having an incredible arm. But at the end of the day, people are going to remember the moments that Eli Manning provided. They're not going to be able to point out one moment 50 years from now and say, oh, yeah. No. They're going to say, oh, the helmet catch. They're going to say the throw to Manningham. I'm taking Eli Manning's career. If it's a fantasy simulation, I'm jumping in. I'm taking the guy that won 2 Super Bowls. What's going on there, V. Christian, man? Thanks for popping in, buddy. Remember Slayton asking on Twitter, but as a New York sports fan, how does it work? Are the Giants fans more often Knicks and Yankees? I mean, traditionally, the way it works is that the Yankees and the Giants go together. I'm an oddity. I went with the Mets. But traditionally, it's Yankees, Giants, and Knicks. I mean, traditionally, it's Knicks. Like, whether you're a Mets or a Yankees fan. The Knicks are New York's team. They've always been New York's team. The Nets, I know they started in New York, but even then they were an ABA team. Their NBA history is in New Jersey. Still, like, in terms of the Nets' true fans, like the fans like I am with the Knicks and several Knicks fans are that stick through it through and through like a real fan. That's what I view a real fan is. They're from New Jersey. They're not from New York. Even Brooklyn is more Knicks fans in terms of true fans. So I would say whether you're a Yankee or a Met fan, the majority are Knicks fans. And that I think that's the one team where everybody pretty much shares. What's going on there? And we got time. Thanks for popping in. Do you think the Giants can actually win a playoff game? Yes. Yes. If you make the playoffs, you can win. You can win it. Why not? Yes, absolutely. It's not like basketball. Like in basketball, you got to win 4 out of 7. In the NFL, if you make the playoffs, anybody can win. Obviously, you have a less of a chance if you're not as good as the other team, but anybody can win. Yes, absolutely. I think we'd have a chance if we made the playoffs. Record prediction. I am going to go 10-7. That was my official record prediction. That may change, after training camp and if there's injuries and things like that, but I'm going to be right in that ballpark, 9 or 10 wins. But I'm going to go 10-7. I keep seeing people asking me. I do not. I'm going to look it up right now. She's a singer, American songwriter, whoever that is. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know who that is. Selena, whoever. You got him going 14-3 I love you. I hope you're right and I'm wrong. I hope you're right and I'm wrong. What is the best game of 2021? I mean, the game that I'm most excited for is the Eagles game. That's the game I'm most excited for as a New York Giants fan. I want to beat the hell out of them. But, I mean, I think there's a number of great games on the schedule. I think the Bucs game's a good game. I think the Chiefs game's a good game. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good games on the schedule, but the game I'm most looking forward to is the Eagles. I think you made a mistake by not picking Fields. See, I want to talk on this as well, Best Impact, because I think there's a lot of fans out there that the way they're going to judge this trade is Justin Fields or what the New York Giants got. And I disagree with that. That's not the way this trade should be judged. The way this trade should be judged, because the Giants were never taking a quarterback. They were never. We knew before the draft started. So how Justin Fields plays as a quarterback, in my opinion, should have no bearing on how you evaluate this trade that the New York Giants made. The way this trade should be evaluated, in my opinion, is Rashawn Slater, which is, I think, who they would have taken, or Elijah Vera Tucker, either one, versus who we get. So Rashawn Slater versus Kadarius Toney versus the trade up to be able to get Robinson and the first-round pick next year and the third-round pick, right? So, or fourth-round pick. That's how it should be evaluated. Who we get with those picks versus Elijah Vera Tucker or Rashawn Slater, because we were never taking a quarterback. We were never taking one. That's how it should be evaluated. Even if Fields turns out to be a great quarterback, I am not gonna judge the trade that way. I just won't. I could go back and say if Daniel Jones is a bust, it was a horrible pick at 6, but I won't judge this trade based off of how Justin Fields performs because we weren't taking him. High Spirit, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, cheers, Chris, for great content week after week. It's very appreciated in the UK. After watching Giants Life, I'm even more impressed with Joe Judge. If you guys have not, Micah Parsons, that's fair too. If you want to say Micah Parsons, that's fair too. If you guys have not watched that video, by the way, that video was fantastic on the Giants YouTube channel. I absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to be giving you guys a lot more Giants content once it becomes more relevant. Like right now, I'm kind of like, I'll do one of these a week. And maybe if there's a roster move and stuff like that, once training camp gets going, that's when I'm going to really start to pump out the Giants content again. I'm not trying to give fluff and just make content to make content. So I figured I'd rather just go live and talk to you guys for a couple of hours during the dead time, and do a live stream once a week or whatever it may be. So, but I'm looking forward to giving you guys a lot more content as the season starts to ramp up. The Eli to Tyree throw was essentially a Hail Mary down the middle of the field. It was a prayer, like he was playing 500 in the back. I agree with that, Delia. The Manningham throw is the impressive throw. The most impressive part of that play in terms of the Eli Manning standpoint was his ability to escape the sack. That was the most impressive thing that he accomplished on that play. The throw itself, I mean, he threw up a prayer, like you said. It was essentially a Hail Mary, and it was magic. There's no doubt about it. It was magic. Now Eli played great throughout that playoff stretch. I always say it, man. One drive that is often forgotten is the drive against the Dallas Cowboys before halftime. 54 seconds to go. Eli Manning starts with the ball, goes down the field, scores a touchdown before the end of the first half against the Dallas Cowboys, in which he hit Amani Toomer for a big play. If that don't happen, Giants don't go to the Super Bowl. So Eli Manning had his moments throughout that playoff stretch where he played very well. But I agree with you. That singular play, that was luck. It was luck. It was a prayer. But sometimes you need to be lucky. Like for everybody that talks about luck, it was every team gets luck. Let's talk about Brady and the Patriots, the Tuck rule. Russell Wilson throwing on the 1 yard line on first to go with Marshawn Lynch as his running back against the Atlanta Falcons. They forget how to run out the clock when they're up 28-3. Yeah, Brady played great, but they had no business coming back in that game. So every team gets luck. But yeah, it was luck. I agree with that. Let's see. What do you think Slate needs to improve on most? What is he missing? I mean, the one thing I was really disappointed with Slayton this past year, one was his drops. I think he had 6 drops on like 65 targets. Like he had a lot of drops for the amount of targets that he received. And 2, I don't think he's a great route runner. He doesn't create a lot of separation. And that was the book on him when we got him. He was known as pretty much a straight line guy with a limited route tree that, could make big plays. He could go up and get it. But I don't think he's a completely polished wide receiver. I think his route running is not very good. So I would say that. What's going on there, Joseph Cupid? What's going on there, Michael Clark? Let's say Golladay doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns in 2022, but becomes that player that takes heat off of everyone else and they produce. Is he still worth the contract he was given? Yeah, that's a good question because obviously the way that people are going to measure him is his statistics. What I'll say is this, man. Obviously, people are going to say no, right? Like if and it's the same thing for Leonard Williams, and it's why I always say that. Like a lot of people say to me, what does Leonard Williams have to do to justify that $23 million that he got or whatever it was? And most people are going to say he's got to at least match last year's sack total. He's got to get 11.5 sacks. That's not my answer. Because Leonard Williams, to me, yeah, he got a lot of sacks last year. That's not his job. His job in this defense is to create pressure up the middle and to flush the quarterback on the outside to create sack opportunities. So my answer for both players, for Kenny Golladay and Leonard Williams, is they prove their worth if the unit exceeds expectations. So, like, if Galladay's presence on the field allows Slayton to have a better year or allows Barkley to have a better year or allows whoever to have a better year, and this offense jumps from 30th to, 14th, well, it was worth it for obvious reasons. And I think it's the same thing for Leonard Williams. Like, if Leonard Williams' presence on the field allows sack opportunities for guys like Lorenzo Carter because of the interior pressure that Leonard Williams creates, because of the double teams that he creates, and it creates opportunities for other players, and the defense is better than it was last year, I think it proves the worth. So I don't think you could just measure these players based off of their individual statistics in terms of their value to this team. And Christian, man, thank you very much. Everyone talks about Terry, but nobody talks about Edelman's catch against Atlanta. That was a great catch. You're absolutely right about that. That ball had no business being caught 2 inches. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's a great point. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Just win games. At the end, that's all. Nobody talks about contracts when your team's winning. Nobody talks about the contracts when your team's winning. So I'm with you on that, man. As long as the team plays good and the offense improves, the Golladay contract is worth it. So, obviously outside of that, if he does nothing, but you got to figure if the offense is much better this year, he has an impact. Conrad, man, thank you very much. Was last night's Knicks loss the most heartbreaking New York sports team loss in recent memory? No, I'm going to say no on that. When you say recent, I don't know how recent you're talking. Like if we're only going to, I'm not a Yankee fan. Okay. So Yankee fans would probably say them losing to, for a chance to win a World Series is more heartbreaking, obviously. I'm a Met fan. So I'll say the 2015 World Series much more heartbreaking than last night. We were in the World Series. We had tons of errors, so on and so forth. So that's 2015. But if you're talking for one singular game, basketball is a series. It's 4-7. So if the Knicks come back to win this series, you forget about that game. So I would say no. Like, I would put, like, as an individual game, I would put the Giants losing to Green Bay much higher than that because the season was over. It's done. The Knicks still have every opportunity to come back and win this series. So I would say no. Joe, man, thank you very much. Stand up. Love my Giants. To touch on the Knicks real quick, your thoughts on the Knicks D last night and what kind of adjustments do we need to win game 2? Okay, in terms of the pros that I saw from the Knicks yesterday, because I always like to talk about both. In terms of the pros, I actually thought that the Knicks did a great job against Clint Capella. I thought Capella was going to destroy us. I thought that was I worried about that almost as much as anything else. So in terms of the pros, I think what the Knicks did was they said, Capella, we're not going to let the big fella beat us down low. Capella did get offensive rebounds, which you expect, but they left a lot of open opportunities on the outside. They missed some threes. The Hawks had some open threes on the wings, on the elbow. They missed their shots. But I think that was the game plan. They said that gives us a better opportunity, and they've done that all year. And they gave him the open shots on the wings. So I thought they did a good job against Capella. Now, where they struggled was on the pick and roll. They could not guard Trae Young to save their lives. And they got to do a much better job in terms of that game too. They have to make an adjustment defensively. And I don't have all the answers. I'm not a coach. My suggestion would be put more pressure on him, get a more physical defender, full court press, make him work so they can't set up the offense as quickly as they did last game. Things like that. It's not perfect. Trae Young's going to get his points. He's a great scorer. He's a great player. He's going to get his points, but you got to make him work harder next game. Yeah, that's my suggestion. So I think there were some good things defensively, but overall, they got to play much better. Yeah, they got to the hoop at will, Daniel, on the pick and roll. What's your take on the running back they drafted? Didn't see much of him in college. Yeah, I didn't see much. I mean, I've seen highlights after the fact. He's a north-south runner. I mean, Brightwell, to me, it sounds like he's going to be a special teams contributor year one, more so than anything else. It's possible he doesn't make the team. I think he will. He'll at least be on the practice squad, but I think he will. But obviously, the Giants brought in some, veteran running backs to compete with him in the backfield. I think this year his primary contribution will more than likely be on special teams. I don't really see him getting that many carries with the Giants this year, but he was known as a really good special teams player while at college. So I think that has as much to do with as anything else for why the Giants drafted him in the 6th. Well, that's not true now, Daniel. We picked up a lot of running backs. We got Brightwell, we got Clement, and we got the guy from Jacksonville. I don't know why the names escape me right now, but we got a pretty full. And obviously, Devontae Booker, we picked up in free agency. So we have a pretty full running back room right now. Maybe you want to argue that you want a little bit more talent at that RB3, but I think we're pretty deep at that position now. Do you think Kelvin Benjamin will play a big role in the offense? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Armstead. Yeah, there you go. Armstead. When they first got Armstead, I'll be the first to say I don't know much about him. And I just looked at the stats and I saw, 3.1 yards a carry. And I was like, all right, well, this guy's not going to do much. But last year he sat out due to COVID. And it was like serious. Like the guy had to go to the hospital 2 times. Like it was bad. He sat out due to COVID. He lost 20 pounds. But from what I read, the guy's a short yardage running back. So my thinking is they probably used him on like 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, and that's why his yards per carry was as low as it was. And Jacksonville was actually pretty high on him. They drafted him in the 5th round, and they thought he was going to be a starter going into last year, or at least compete to be the starter. So I think that was a nice little under-the-table signing by the Giants. I don't know how big of a role he's going to have, but I think he's at least adequate to be an RB3. If he comes into camp healthy and in good shape, I think he could at least compete and provide some solid depth at the running back position. I think that was a nice little signing by the Giants. Kawhi to the Knicks, it's possible. I mean, it's Here's what I'll say about Kawhi to the Knicks. I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day. I think it becomes a possibility if the Clippers lose in the first round. Like especially if they get embarrassed. Like if the Mavericks sweep them or beat them 4-1, I could see Kawhi signing somewhere else. And the Knicks would have to be one of the favorites. Big market team with cap space, young team that's getting better. I think it's possible, but I think it would require the Clippers getting knocked out very early in the playoffs. Any chance Moser or Turner gets signed, or are we running with the young guy? I don't know which offensive lineman's going to get signed, Ryan. I really don't. And this is just my prediction. I think we're going to sign one of them. I do. I think there will be another free agent lineman that the Giants bring in. I don't know if it'll be a tackle. I don't know if it'll be a guard. I would think it'll be a guard. I think that's where we need the most help, an interior offensive lineman, center or guard. But I think we're going to sign one of them. My thought process is, at least what I'm hoping for, is they're waiting for the market to kind of bottom out, because there's a lot of linemen that are out there. And at this point, if you're the Giants, be patient, right? Because you're going to have the June 1st cuts. A lot of people are going to cut their players. That's going to add even more players to the talent pool. And that should drive the price down even more, because it's supply and demand. If there's more linemen that are available, it should only make the price come down. So I think the Giants at this point are like, we're going to wait it out, and we're going to get one of these guys on the cheap. That's what I'm hoping. I think we'll end up signing somebody on the offensive line. Bro, Clem stole your yell on Barstool? What do you mean, Billy Johnston? I'll be the first. I don't watch Barstool that much. I do think the pizza guy's pretty funny. I don't watch them that much. What do you mean he stole my yell? Like stand up? Like I don't even know what you mean, Billy. Wampback says, I don't like to get in the Knicks free agency talk. We have a lot. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Wampback. I'll be talking about that a lot after the finals. Like, I like to do some Knicks offseason. I appreciate it, Billy, man. Yeah, man, definitely let me know. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing those videos after the finals. I'll be talking free agency. I'll be talking draft, all that stuff. I want to make it a point this year. I always get caught up, and last year, because of the pandemic, the Knicks didn't play in the second half. The year before, I did a lot of Knicks offseason content. I want to make it a point to try to make some offseason videos for the Knicks this year, and do some live streams. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not even thinking about that right now. I mean, in the back of my mind, I am a little bit, but it's not appropriate to talk about yet. I don't know why you keep asking this. Julio Jones, I mean, he's a good player. We're not getting him. Dylan says, bold prediction, Zach Wilson will throw more touchdowns to Corey Davis than Daniel Jones will to Kenny Golladay. I'm going to say no on that. And I think Corey Davis could play well for the Jets this year. I'm going to say no to that, actually. I think Golladay, I'm actually pretty confident. The one thing I can't say with Golladay that I'm confident in, I don't know how many yards he's going to have. Because I don't know how they're going to utilize him in the offense. In terms of, targets and everything else, because they have a lot of guys they're going to throw to. But one place where I think the Giants are going to target him early and often is in the red zone. I think Golladay is going to actually score a good amount of touchdowns for the Giants. I would be surprised if Golladay has less than 8 touchdowns. I'd be surprised. He may only have 700, 800 yards. I think he's going to get at least 8 or 9 touchdowns. I think Galladay's going to – I would say no on that. I'm actually going to disagree with you on that one. He's very specific here. Golladay going to have 997 yards. Michael Perez, I am going to take a picture of this. And at the end of the year, if you are correct, I'm going to get you a jersey. I will get you a jersey, Michael. If you hit that on the dot, you deserve something. So I just took a picture of that. Did the NBA change the first round to best out of 5? No, it used to be 5. Now it's 7. It's been 7 for a long time. It used to be 5. 835, 11 touchdowns. I think all right, I'll give my stat prediction. Since we're throwing out stat predictions, I am going to go with, I think Galladay's yardage is going to be a little lower than some people may think. I'll go with it's 17 games. I'll go with 954 yards, but I'm going to go with 11 touchdowns. I think he scores a lot of touchdowns. I think he's our primary red zone target. So I'm going to go with 953 yards and 11 touchdowns. EJ Cool's got 8 million yards and 8 million touchdowns. 7 million touchdowns. Tyler Stack, 1032. We'll see, man. Saquon, 1,254 yards rushing, 827 receiving yards. If he stays healthy and he's 100%, I could see a year like that. I could see 2,000 all-purpose yards. Phil Mickelson, 301 odds to win the championship. If you put down bucks on FanDuel, you win 30. Did he win? I don't follow golf. Did he win? What's up, James? Says, do you think Saquon will have 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards? I think you mean to say there. And 10 plus touchdowns. I'm going to say no to that. I think he could have 2,000 combined, but I don't think it's 1,000 and 1,000. I mean, Saquon's hard to predict because I don't know how they're going to utilize him in the offense this year. Because, coming back from the injury, I think they may handle him with kid gloves the first couple of weeks. And I don't know. I think he's going to have a good year. I do. I'll go something like I'll go about 1,100 yards rushing, maybe 1,150, and I'll go with about 700 yards receiving, something like that. Maybe 1,250 and 700, something like that. I think he's going to have a year like that. With the amount we invest in receivers and tight ends, I don't think he breaks 1,000 receiving. You talking about Galladay? Again, I don't care about the yards. I care about the touchdowns for him. That's why we got him. We got him here to provide as a big play threat and touchdowns. Something we struggled with. We were 31st last year in red zone offense. If he has 800 yards and 13 touchdowns, I'll take that over 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. Touchdowns is what I care about with Kenny Galladay. Chris, tell me, Ross in the slot. It's a scary sight. I don't see how Ross is going to get on the field unless there's injuries. I don't see it. Like before we got Tony, I would have said, yeah. And I'm not saying he won't get on the field at all, but I don't see how he's going to get a big enough role to make a serious impact with this offense unless there's injuries. Because, I mean, right now, Slayton or Shepard is our 4. Or Tony. So I don't see how he's going to get an opportunity. We just hired Stephen Price. All right. I'll look into him. I'll look into him after the stream. Maybe I'll make a video tonight. We'll see. Roy's going to be in 3rd and long. Like I said, he'll have his situations. What do you think ensures playoffs for the Giants? Top 5 defense or Jones top 15 quarterback? If Jones is a top 15 quarterback, I think we're making the playoffs. I just think the surrounding talent on this team is too good not to if he's an above average or average quarterback this year, especially with the division we play in. If Jones is top 15, I think we're going to playoffs. So I would say Jones. I think Jones is definitely the most important factor into whether or not this team will make the playoffs this year. And you could argue that the offensive line may have more of an effect on it than Daniel Jones as an individual because the offensive line allows Jones to do his job. But the bottom line is if Jones performs as a top 15 quarterback, I think we're a playoff team. The most yards Ross had in a season is 506. Who in the hell would take him over? He's not. He's not over Slayton. He's not. He could be cut. I don't think he will be, but he could be. I don't think he carries much of a dead cap hit. I think he'll make the team. I think he'll make the team. He may even start week 1. Who are you talking about? You talking about Ross? I hope not. No, Moose. Let me look into it right now. Hold on. I'll look into it right now. We have hired Stephen Price, formerly of the Houston Texans, as our pro personnel manager. I know nothing about this guy. Let me look him up real quick. Wiki, Stephen Price. Just get a quick background on him. Let me see. Pro Scout, Houston Texans. Stephen Price is currently a pro scout for the Houston Texans. He works within the Texans personnel department to evaluate team strengths and weaknesses, in addition to evaluating NFL talent for free agency and the Texans roster development. I'm guessing he's going to have a tie to judge because Bill O'Brien coached there. Bill O'Brien, of course, goes back to the Patriots. So we'll see. Formerly a college scout with the Minnesota Vikings and representative at Blesto, Bills, Lions, Eagles talent organization. He was with the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, I don't see much. It's hard to find much on the guy. So the Giants brought in somebody to the coaching staff. Should the Packers the Packers could, I think, make more sense than the Giants. Chris, what do you think happens with Austin Mack, David Sills, and Dante Pettis? Anyone making the team? If so, who? I think none of them make the team, if I had to guess, unless there's injuries in camp, which there could be. But right now, I think Pettis does, rather. I think Pettis is the favorite out of those three. I like Sills. I'm rooting for Sills to make the team, but I don't think he will. I think Pettis is the favorite out of those three. I just think our wide receiving core is too deep. No one stat has ever proved. Oh, this is the one, the player to a team guy. That record is a player stat in the NFL. That's what he's claiming. That it should be looked at as a stat in the NFL. We're not talking NBA. No one stat has ever proved if someone was good or bad. So Deshaun Watson being on a bad team doesn't make him bad, but it definitely is a stat on his stat sheet. Wins are definitely a stat for individuals. Yeah, see, I just disagree. Why is it, I hope I pronounced this right, DeSoto. Why is it that the quarterback is the only position measured with wins and losses? I've heard several people say that Chad Ochocinco is one of the greatest wide receivers of all time when he was healthy. The Bengals weren't winning football games. I've heard several people tell me that there's these unbelievable defensive players that never win games. So, I disagree. It's a team stat. Daniel Jones doesn't go 4-12. The New York Giants do. It's a team stat. To me, it's silly. It's a team stat. It's not an individual stat. Of course, does the quarterback have more of an impact than other positions? Yeah, it's the most important. But the quarterback also is more dependent on other positions, more so than any other position on the football team. Am I the only one who thinks we should have gave up on Daniel Jones and that we will regret it? We will regret it due to a weak quarterback class in next year's draft. That's yet to be determined. I can't answer that. Is it fair to have fear? Sure. But what I'll say about that is you're throwing darts at a board. People said the same thing in 2018, and I'm not saying, I definitely see the legitimacy behind fans that complain about taking Barkley or running back before we're ready to support him. But fans said the same thing. They said, how did you pass up Darnold? Well, Darnold's on his second team. People said, how did you pass up Rosen? And I don't want to hear about Lamar Jackson because he was never in the discussion. And really, neither was Josh Allen. If you're going to be fair, it was either Rosen or Darnold. Neither one of them turned out good. So we don't know what these quarterbacks are going to be. You're throwing darts at a board. There is no exact science. It's why there's so many first overall busts at the quarterback position. And I think we got to hope that Daniel Jones gets the job done. The one thing I will say is at least we have draft capital if he doesn't work out, that we could trade up and get a quarterback or trade and get an established quarterback that's already in the NFL if we don't like somebody in the draft. Oh, he's still going. If your kicker loses you a game because he can determine if you win or lose based off that one kick, you can use that game as a stat on the kicker's resume. Well, no, I'd rather just use missed kicks. Because even if the kicker misses the kick, what if then there's variables that come into it? What if it was a 54-yarder? What if it was a 49-yarder going into 25-mile-per-hour wind? What if the kick was blocked? What if the quarterback threw 4 picks and they should have never been in that situation to begin with? So no, wins and losses are a team stat. Watch him play good in Carolina. We'll see, man. What's going on there? No, man. Thanks for popping in. Rory says, greeting from Puerto Rico. Where would you think Julio Jones gets traded to? I say the Cowboys. No, I say, did you watch the video today? He's not going to the Cowboys. He laughed at the possibility of going to the Cowboys. I think he's going to end up with, if I had to pick a team, probably the Colts. That's my prediction. Deshaun says, what about the tight end who tipped the ball and gave the other team the ball in the first half? Yeah, there's too many variables. It's a team game. Like Daniel Jones, and I'm not saying Daniel Jones doesn't deserve blame. He plays the most important position, right? What's up there, EJ Cool? But Daniel Jones, that's another thing that I always say. And this is just my thought process. But whenever anybody asks me who's the best athlete in all 4 major sports, I rarely say a football player. And I love football. Football is my favorite sport. But in football, like I said, it's the ultimate team sport. And no matter how good the quarterback is, he could only impact so much. You saw it in the Super Bowl with Pat Mahomes. The quarterback's only on the field half the time, okay? And he only throws about half the time that he's on the field. And, of course, there's other things. He reads defense and so on and so forth, and they definitely have a high impact. But a basketball player impacts the game throughout. They play both offense and defense, okay? So that's why – and same thing with hockey, right? They play on both sides of the ice, so on and so forth. So wins and losses are a team stat. It's not an individual stat. Can you make your reaction to Trae Young hitting the game winner? You go back, watch my stream. I'm not doing it again. I'll lose my voice. I yelled son of a bitch. And Delia says, yes, there are circumstances in a game that lead up to the final outcome. You can never pinpoint it on one individual. Yeah, I think it's in most situations. I think it's almost in all situations. Like I mean, listen, if your quarterback goes out there and throws 6 picks, sure. But there's variables to a lot of the, say, Jones throws 3 picks. There may be variables to those picks. Did it go off the wide receiver's hands? Did Andrew Thomas completely whip on a block? So it's a team game. Okay, it's not like basketball. Basketball, it's much more individually driven. It's why when LeBron James goes from team to team, he instantly has 45 wins. Football is much more of a team game. Deshaun Watson is one of the most talented quarterbacks in football, no matter how you want to slice it. They won 4 games. If Deshaun Watson was a basketball player, they would have had a winning season. Individuals make much more of an impact in basketball than they do football. And yeah, I agree with that as well. Coaches get fired based on wins. Yes, 100%. Who will be the worst team in the league? I want to say the first team that popped in my head when you said that was the Lions. But maybe I'm forgetting somebody. I don't like the Lions. I think the Lions drafted well, but it's not going to help them this year. Like I like the Penei Sewell pick. I think the Lions. That was my first team I thought of when you said it. I'm going to go with the Lions. Houston's up there too. I would go with either Houston or Detroit. Those would be my 2 teams. Houston or Detroit. Those would be my 2 teams. What is it? 420. When did we start? I don't even remember when we started. We started at 2, didn't we? 2:10. So yeah, we're gonna wrap this up in like 5 minutes. I had fun. I wanted to do one of these. Haven't done one of these with you guys in a while. I always like to talk sports midday with you guys. Like I said, as there's a lot more relevant things to talk about, we'll be talking a lot more Giants football and videos down the stretch. But I didn't want to make it just Knicks because I know most of you guys are Giants subscribers of mine. But I also don't want to force bad content down your throat. So I want to go live, talk some Giants with you guys today, recap a little bit of the Knicks game. And yeah, the Giants content will definitely get cooking as the season gets closer. I'm going to be on Talking Giants actually on Tuesday. Bobby's having me on for an interview. Actually, it's going to air Tuesday. We're doing it on Friday. Joey, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, hey, Chris, I've been a big follower of yours for a while and finally gave a super chat. Thank you very much, Joey. Quick question. Should I get a jersey for Ojulari or Daniel? Ooh. That's a really tough one. You know, Joey, I look at a draft pick, at a jersey rather, as an investment. You know, you want to make sure the player that you're getting is going to be there for a long time. And I cannot confidently tell you that I know Daniel Jones is going to be here for a long time. So if you asked me who's more probable to be here for the next 4 or 5 years, I would probably lean Azeez Ojulari because I think it's a guarantee. But by the same token, we don't know what the hell he's going to be. He's a rookie, second-round pick that's never played before. So, and I like the pick. I think he's going to be good. But my answer to you would be, I don't think either one's a safe investment. I think both of them could be, you know, Daniel Jones could be a very good player, but we don't know. And Azeez Ojulari, we don't know what we got yet. So I would probably tell you to hold off on both. If you told me who's the safest investment in terms of buying a jersey today for the New York Giants, outside of an offensive lineman like Andrew Thomas, I can't say Peppers because you don't know if they're going to re-sign him. I can't say Logan Ryan because he's obviously not going to be here that much longer. You don't know about Bradbury. He's only got 1 more year left on the contract after this year. You know what? If you ask me today, who is the safest investment in terms of getting a New York Giant jersey, you know they're going to be here over the next 3 or 4 years, it's one of 2 players. In terms of knowing they're going to have an impact, Leonard Williams or Kenny Golladay. Those are the 2 safest jerseys, in my opinion. And Tony, but again, he's a rookie. You don't know how he's going to perform. I think those are the 2 safest. Leonard Williams or Kenny Golladay. I think those are the 2 safest. Martinez as well, but he's only got 1 year left on the contract after this year. So I'd go with either Leonard Williams or Kenny Golladay if you're trying to get a safe jersey that you know is going to be here for at least 3 years. Dexter Lawrence as well. Good call on that, Nick. T-Boy, man, thank you very much. Is Nick Gates still coming on the chat? We'll see. I hope. We'll see. You know, I don't want to bother the guy, but you know, I'm in a group chat with him on Instagram. We'll see. We'll see. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. I see a lot of people get players on their chat. I don't like to bother them. Maybe I need to do a better job of that. I don't like to bother players. I know that they're busy enough talking to reporters and so on and so forth. So maybe I need to do that more, but I don't like to bother players. Yeah, McKinney will probably be, but to me, and I think he'll be good. But to me, again, we still don't know for sure if he's going to be. That's why I would say Golladay or Leonard Williams is probably safer, or Dexter Lawrence. Kadarius Toney going to be electric as long as he stays healthy. Yeah. I like the Toney pick. I like the Toney pick. I'm more worried about how they're going to implement him in the offense. Are they going to be creative enough in year 1? I think they will be, but we'll see. Make your bones, Chris. Yeah. Why not Andrew Thomas? No, I prefaced it by saying, because a lot of people don't want to get an offensive lineman's jersey, which I completely understand. I bought an Andrew Thomas jersey because I love Hogs, but not everybody wants to get an offensive lineman. I get that, right? But yes, I think Andrew Thomas is one of probably the safest. Like if Andrew Thomas is going to be here for 10 years, if all goes according to plan and he doesn't have an injury. So if you ask me who is the safest, it's Andrew Thomas. Leonard Williams is going to be here for 3 more years. Then you don't know after that. Golladay, 3 more years. You don't know after that. Thomas, 10 years if he stays healthy. He's going to be the left tackle. So I would say Andrew Thomas is the safest, but not a lot of people want an offensive lineman's jersey. Getting a Tana jersey is the safest investment. Did you hear about the? No, I did not. I did not hear about the violence in the Giants facility. John Ross jersey, 100% safe. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But guys, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I know there's not a lot going on today. And Odell, man, thank you very much. He says, can we do a call today, bro? Would love to talk. You know what, Odell? Here's what I'll do. I'm not gonna do it today because I've been live now for over 2 hours. Here's what I'll do. You want to talk Knicks as well, so can we do a call today, bro? Would love to talk Knicks and Giants, but even if not, let's go Knicks and let's go Giants. I will go live early before the Knicks game, like really early before the Knicks game on Wednesday. The game starts, I think it's 7 or 7:30. I will go live at like 6. That'll be a long stream. I'll be dead. But I'm going to go live at like 6. And I'll take callers for like an hour. Maybe an hour and 15 minutes. I can't guarantee that you're going to get through. But Nick's stream might not be as busy as a Giants stream when I do a call-in. So, and obviously it's to talk Knicks. It's not going to be to talk Giants during, about to call Knicks play-by-play. But I'll do a call-in before the Knicks game on Wednesday. And I'll let some of you guys call in about an hour before. I'll go live about an hour and a half before the game, and I'll do some Giants call-ins once there's more relevant things to talk about. I'll make it a point to do one of those every couple of weeks. Once there's stuff to really talk about. But let's see. Some guy in the Giants falsely reported he got. Oh, okay. Do you think we'll trade Shepard before the deadline? Go G-Men. I mean, I don't know. There's no way I could know that. Do I think it's possible? Yeah. Do I think we could trade Ingram? Yeah. But I'm leaning no. I don't think we will. You're talking about a guy that has rapport with Jones. He's played with Jones now for 2 years. You already have so many changing parts to this offense. I don't think we'll trade him. I think he'll be here with the Giants this year. But guys, I am going to wrap this up. I just want to say, I didn't even think I was going to get as many people as I did today because there's not much to talk about. So I can't say thank you enough for everybody for all the support you guys always show on the channel. I'm really looking forward to this offseason getting past us. Obviously, I'm going to continue to do the Knicks now until the end of the playoffs. I'll mix in some Giants stuff along the way, and I'll be doing some Mets streams after basketball season. And obviously, football content's going to start to really ramp up as we get, towards mid to late July. That's when you're going to start to get a lot of videos again every day or near every day. But thank you guys so much, man. You guys have a great rest of your day. And we'll talk soon. Have a good day, everybody. Let's go Giants.